and he'll be catching Oral Hershiser, who is 12-13 this year. But it doesn't matter about his season record. It's his career record against the Giants that San Francisco fans have to worry about. For his career, he is 19-7 in 31 starts against the San Francisco Giants.
And he's ready to go to work on a very warm and bright sunshiny afternoon in Los Angeles. The umpires working the ball game. Jerry Crawford calls the balls and strikes. Jim Quick at first, Tom Hallion at second, and Steve Ripley is at third. And Darren Lewis is ready to lead off. He's been struggling lately. His average has dropped to 255. He has 2 homers and 46 runs batted in. He is the leading stolen base threat for the Giants, and Dusty Baker said a key this weekend for San Francisco would be Lewis's ability to get on base. He's been struggling to do that lately. First pitch of this vitally important ball game. Up and in. Perhaps Hershiser is sending a message immediately.
I think that message too with Darren Lewis. The Giants are going to, or the Dodgers are going to try to pitch him inside anyway.
He chopped one foul at home plate. We mentioned that it's a warm day here in Los Angeles. 85 degrees the temperature, and it's on its way up at noon local time.
And we're not complaining.
No, indeed. They had 51,000 fans here last night. They expect a similarly big crowd this afternoon, but in typical Southern California fashion, they're a little bit late in arriving. Lewis slaps it down to first. Eric Karros surrounded it and won the race to the base for the first out of the ball game.
Batting second, number 23, second baseman.
That will bring up Steve Scarsoni, who is filling in again today for Robbie Thompson. Scarsoni has done a good job in a substitute role throughout the year. He's hit a solid .263 with 2 homers, including a big one earlier this week against Colorado, and 15 driven in. The 35-year-old Hershiser is high with ball 1 to Scarsoni. Oral 6'3", 198 pounds. In his 10th year in the majors. Scarsoni to deep right. Drifting back Snyder just in front of the warning track to make the catch. So quickly 2 away in the top of the first. And Hershiser just ready to face Will Clark. He went 4 for 5 last night and is hitting .277 for the year with 14 homers and 73 runs batted in. It was the meat of the order that keyed the victory last night, particularly Barry Bonds, who drove in 7 of the 8 runs, but Clark went 4 for 5. Williams had 3 hits. They were 10 for 13 combined, the trio of Clark, Williams, and Bonds.
And that was Will Clark's first 4-hit game of the year, his 21st of his terrific career. 8 years in the National League, and the concern in San Francisco, not only whether the Giants can win it this year or whether they're going to have Will Clark back next year.
Hershiser quickly ahead of him 0-2, and the pitch is just outside. Well, Clark might have played his final game in a San Francisco uniform at Candlestick Park on Wednesday against the Rockies. There were all kinds of signs in the stands that said "Keep Will." A plane flew overhead with a banner that had the same message. And he is a free agent at the end of the year, and he's already up in the $4 million a year plus category on a team that already pays Barry Bonds in the vicinity of $7 million a year. It's going to be a tough decision for the Giants front office and ownership to make.
Yeah, the movie was Free Willy, but I don't think that would be the Giants movie this year. They do not want a free agent Will Clark signing with someone else. But the financial considerations, as you said, Sean, enormous.
And I know in New York you've heard a lot of talk this year about the possibility of Clark going to the New York Mets, who are looking to improve their club in the offseason. And they've talked openly about Eddie Murray. He won't be returning. Clark with another hit, following up his 4 for 5 last night with a line single into right field after he fell behind to the count 0-2. He battled back to work his way on with a 2-out hit.
Breaking ball to Clark, and a pretty good one, but a great 2-strike hitter is Will Clark, and he pokes one to right.
So runner at first with 2 outs, no score in the top of the first. Here's Matt Williams coming off a 3-hit night last night that raised his average to .293 with 38 home runs and 110 driven in.
Oh boy, that's a bad play right there. 2 out and a runner at first base. You have your power hitter up there, 110 RBIs, 38 home runs. Do odd things right now. An extra base hit scores Will Clark possibly, unless it's a short double. I don't think Dusty Baker wants to see his Thunder bunting with 2 outs. Maybe to lead off an inning if you're trailing by 2 or more runs in the middle innings. But not here.
Even with the third baseman Wallach playing in Santa Monica as he is, you still want Williams up there swinging, and he did. He foul tipped it for strike 2. The Colorado Rockies were retired in order in the top of the first at Atlanta. The Braves now coming to bat against Armando Reynoso.
Yeah, Sean, even after the bunt attempt, Wallach stays back at third base with the count 0-1, and that's indicative of the fact that, hey, Matt Williams, if you want to bunt, we'll give it to you every time up. We'd rather see you bunt the ball than swing the bat.
1-2 on Williams, having the best offensive season of his career, and he's certainly a leading candidate for the Gold Glove at third base in the National League. And he strikes out as Hershiser changed speeds. First strikeout of the ball game for Oral Hershiser. After half inning, San Francisco nothing, and the Dodgers coming up.
You've seen it before. The ones who run with the herd, and the one who always seems to run alone. You don't see him often enough, though.
Head for the mountains of bush.
Hurry, girls, before Daddy gets up.
Ooh, pretty.
Now, no more. These are Daddy's corn pops.
Oh, look, Daddy's bowl is too full.
The problem with a cereal that tastes like popcorn, only sweeter, is that it disappears like popcorn, only faster.
Mommy, that's Daddy's.
We share.
Hi, girls.
Happy birthday!
Thanks, guys.
Now let's all go make him breakfast.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. It's hard to stop when it's Pops.
This is hydroplaning in less than an inch of water, and they're being pulled by Goodyear all-season AquaTread radials. AquaTread's deep groove design channels water away as you drive for outstanding traction. Hydroplaning, AquaTreading. Think about it.
The batting order for the Dodgers this afternoon. Brett Butler leads off in center field. Batting second, the shortstop, Jose Offerman. Mike Piazza is the catcher hitting third. The cleanup hitter is the first baseman, Eric Karros. Batting fifth in right field, Corey Snyder. Tim Wallach is the third baseman hitting sixth. Batting seventh and playing left field, Raul Mondesi. The second baseman, Jody Reed, bats eighth, and batting ninth, the pitcher, Oral Hershiser.
The defense for the Giants, it is an excellent defensive outfield, spearheaded by Barry Bonds, the left fielder. Darren Lewis, 313 games without an error. That's a major league record. Dave Martinez in there for the injured Willie McGee. Willie injured running into Steve Scarsoni last night. Matt Williams at third base. Royce Clayton at shortstop has been terrific. Steve Scarsoni at second base. Will Clark, a former Gold Glover, at first. And a bit of a surprise, Jeff Reed behind the plate today. But Dusty Baker telling Pat O'Brien that Reed's behind there because he is 8 for 28 against Hershiser, and Manwaring is 2 for 14. Brian Hickerson went 5 innings on Tuesday night, beating Colorado. He was lifted from the game in the 6th inning. He was hit in the left rib cage on a line drive by Andres Galarraga.
Hickerson's first pitch to Brett Butler, a called strike. There is no score as Los Angeles bats for the first time this afternoon. The 36-year-old Butler hitting .295 with a homer and 42 knocked in. Williams is in on the grass at third as Hickerson missed with the breaking ball. You talked about the line drive that hit Bryant. It hit him around the lat muscle on the left side. You can explain what that is, because I have no idea, but it's up high on the rib cage underneath the shoulder, from what they tell me. Bryant said it still was a little bit sore last night. He didn't hit the ground when he was hit by the line drive Tuesday night. Took the standing 8 count. He said, if I get hit there again, it won't be a very pleasant experience. But injury or not, under these circumstances, if they want to give you the ball, you take it and go on mightily, and that's what he's trying to do today. 2-2 the count on Butler.
And speaking of taking it, that's what Brett Butler does. He takes up to 2 strikes a lot. He's one of the better 2-strike hitters in the league. He cuts down on his swing, and I think the defensive outfield should move in about 3 steps when there's 2 strikes on Butler. I think Lewis is too deep in center field, and I know Dave Martinez is way too deep in right field. Butler with 146 singles this year. That leads the National League in 1-base hits.
That's up the middle and a base hit.
I think in games like this, Sean, the one thing, if you're an infielder, more than any other time, you say, hit the ball to me. You have to accentuate it, because 102 wins this year. The closer you get to the finish, the more cautious you become. We saw that with Atlanta last week, sacrificing with Jeff Blauser, or attempting to 3 times in that game against the Phillies.
Now Jose Offerman, who's had a solid year with the bat at .270. A homer and 61 runs batted in. His problems continue to be defensively. Butler is 39 stolen bases. Offerman turned as if to sacrifice and looked at a ball outside.
Offerman with 23 sacrifices this year, and add to that 8 sacrifice flies. More sacrifices than anybody ever in a Los Angeles Dodger uniform, 31. So look for him to bunt again here. Lasorda just looking for 1 run with Hershiser on the mound.
And trying to put early pressure on the Giants, already playing under tremendous pressure. Butler is a straight stolen base threat for Tommy Lasorda with 39 steals. He's only been thrown out 19 times. No score in the bottom of the first. Butler runs on the 1-0 pitch. It's a looping fly down the line and foul.
Pretty good policy by the Dodgers. When the count is even, you sacrifice, and then the count was in Offerman's favor, and Tommy Lasorda put the hit and run on. So if they stay true to form, Offerman will be given the sacrifice again. We'll see.
In the words of pitching coach Dick Pohl, has a below average move to first base, but he is, again in the words of Pohl, decently quick to the plate to try to give the catcher a chance. And there's the move to first. Hickerson from Bemidji, Minnesota, now makes his home in Scottsdale, Arizona. He says he'd like to move back to Minnesota when his playing days are over. Bemidji, according to Bryan's, about 4 hours north of the Twin Cities. Again, Offerman squares to bunt, and he fouled it off. Atlanta is batting at the bottom of the first. They have a runner at first with 1 out in a scoreless ball game against the Rockies. Maddox and Reynoso. The pitching matchup there, and the Braves will have Tommy Glavine on the mound tomorrow. He'll be opposed by David Need. And if there's a playoff game on Monday night, it would be at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. It would be Bill Swift against John Smoltz. The 1-2 pitch lifted high in the air to left. Bond started in, and now he's drifting back to make the catch. Not much of a breeze in the ballpark today, but it is definitely a very high sky, and it might be difficult from time to time for the fielders to locate the ball.
Yeah, it's a bad combination. High sky and white shirts. A lot of light white shirts in this weather here. And Barry looked like he misplayed that ball. Well, he did misplay it, but he's got the talent to recover in time. He is a terrific defensive left fielder to go along with all of his offensive numbers.
Now Mike Piazza, who will be the National League Rookie of the Year this season with his .314 average, 33 homers, 107 driven in. And Hickerson again to first to keep Butler close. And Piazza will be the 6th Rookie of the Year in the last 15 years for Los Angeles.
Rookie of the Year started back in 1947 in the National League. Jackie Robinson, great Jackie Robinson, the first Rookie of the Year. The Dodgers have had 12. That is including Mike Piazza. The American League Rookie of the Year award started in 1949. Roy Sievers won the first one with the Senators.
National League Rookie of the Year is now the Jackie Robinson National League Rookie of the Year award, named for the first winner. No score in the bottom of the first. One out. Butler at first. The 0-1 fouled off to the right. Piazza, one of 7 catchers in Major League Baseball this season to have hit 20 home runs or more, and it's the first time this many catchers have had 20 or more home runs. Some of them seemingly come out of nowhere. Guys like Wilkins and Stanley, and even Karkovice, known for his defense. Piazza says he really can't answer the question about whether or not he's surprised by his success, because he says he's not certain what his potential is. They pitch out. Butler was not on the move.
All you have to do is stand next to Piazza, and you know the reason, or part of the reason, why he hits so many home runs. He is as strong a guy, pound for pound, as any other player in the National League. They have these little forearm grips that Piazza uses all the time. He is the only guy on the ball club who can bring those grips together. Nobody, not even Coach Joe Ferguson, who is a strong guy, can bring those grips tip to tip together. Only Piazza.
And when you can squeeze those grips, you have forearms as Piazza has. I thought I could do it, but Mike wouldn't let me try. A 1-2 pitch. He struck him out with a high, hard one. For the second out of the inning, first strikeout of the afternoon for Brian Hickerson.
When you are a strong hitter, the one thing that is bothersome from that standpoint, high pitches. You're not as flexible in the shoulders. That's what you like. You like a lithe strength like Barry Bonds, as opposed to bulky strength like Mike Piazza. Those are the type guys that you can jam and pitch inside and go up the ladder, and that's what Hickerson did just then.
Now Eric Karros. He waits as Butler again draws a throw. Karros hit his 23rd home run of the year last night in the 9th inning off Rod Beck, but it wasn't enough. Cut the margin 8-7, and that was the score by which the Giants won the ball game. Eric has driven in 78. Down in Atlanta with 2 outs in the bottom of the first, the Braves are still at bat. They have Ron Gant at first base and Otis Nixon at third, and David Justice at the plate. 2 outs, runners at the corners for Atlanta. No score in the bottom of the first there. Here there's no score in the bottom of the first. 2 outs, Butler at first. Karros swings through the first pitch to him. Certainly was a big question when spring training broke about how big a part of this Giant pitching staff Hickerson would be. He barely made the team out of spring training and then really struggled in April and was on the verge a couple of times of being sent down. But a heart-to-heart chat with Dusty Baker helped get his season turned around. Butler bluffed towards second, and Karros fouled it off 0-2. Hickerson has become a very valuable man for this Giant staff. They've used him as a starter, as a setup man in middle and long relief. Dick Pohl, the pitching coach, says that's very difficult to do when you continually ask a pitcher to change roles, but Hickerson has handled it very well.
Biggest game of his career, of course, his 15th start this year. There's Dick Pohl in the middle of your picture sitting next to Dusty Baker. Hickerson last year, 1 start, and here he is pitching in a huge game.
Again, they pitch out. Again, Butler was not on the run. 1-2 the count at Karros. Joe Amalfitano, longtime third base coach for Tommy Lasorda, threw the signs for Butler and Karros. The ball inside. Is it true, as Tommy Lasorda said yesterday, when he used to serve as third base coach for the Dodgers prior to becoming manager, and you were catching, that you frequently hollered down at Tommy to pipe down, and that would be a nicer word than Tommy used yesterday?
Yes, that is true. Tommy upset me, and a lot of catchers a great deal. He would rag on you during the game.
Dribbled to short. Clayton throws him out, and that ends the inning. Each team leaves a runner on in the first after 1, no score.
Andre and Michelle, 2 Europeans, are going to tour America and sample the best the new world offers. They'll drive the Buick Park Avenue Ultra, a car with some features they've never seen on European models, with a supercharged engine that can quench even a European's thirst for assertive power. They'll see America in the world's most aptly named car, Ultra from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
You're looking at tinea pedis, commonly known as athlete's foot. But what's not commonly known is many types of fungus cause it. And to cure it all, you've got to kill it all. But today, there's a full prescription-strength medicine, the one most recommended by doctors, Lotrimin AF. The broad-spectrum power of Lotrimin AF doesn't just get some athlete's foot fungus, it kills it all. Lotrimin AF, the cure that gets it all.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets!
Hot Pockets, filled with pepperoni pizza or ham and cheese in a crispy pocket.
What are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets!
Try Lean Pockets, too.
Coast, the eye-opener.
You've got to attack the courses. You've got to master the machinery. You've got to use all your resources.
It's not really that difficult to earn the name Goodwrench.
All it takes is all you've got.
Goodwrench, raising the standards of performance on the track and in your GM dealership.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball.
Oral Hershiser is a very bright guy, and he says that the Dodgers and pitching coach Ron Peranowski can tell if he's throwing well if, from their view, he throws at the apex with the hand at the apex in an inverted C. If it's an inverted C, what he does is create torque, and that gives him more velocity, and he's able to throw harder. So that's what Ron Peranowski looks for this afternoon.
And he had to light what he saw in the first inning, because clearly that was an inverted C formed by the arm and back. of Oral Hershiser. Atlanta has scored twice in the bottom of the first. David Justice, an RBI single to knock in Otis Nixon. Then Terry Pendleton, who had 5 runs batted in last night, single to drive in Ron Gant. So it's 2-0 Atlanta. And if the Giants aren't aware of that score, they will be very shortly. Barry Bonds keyed the comeback from 4-0 last night to the 8-7 win with 7 runs batted in, a career high. And he walks on 4 pitches.
Back in 1969, I think it's the last time that it happened. Another giant, a giant I might add, Willie McCovey, was walked intentionally by Leo DeRocher at Wrigley Field when the Cubs were leading by a run in the 9th inning with nobody on base. Now you might say, well, that wasn't an intentional walk. What was it? It wasn't even close with any of those pitches.
Well, certainly with Martinez in the lineup today, instead of McGee, there is less protection behind Barry Bonds.
Right.
Martinez came in last night in the 2nd inning when McGee collided in shallow right with Steve Scarsone, and Willie had to leave the ball game, having aggravated a rib cage pull that's plagued him from time to time this year. Martinez only a .236 hitter. Of course, one of the most frequently asked questions last night and again this morning here in Los Angeles was, why did Tommy Lasorda pitch to Barry Bonds last night in a 4-4 game in the 5th inning? Martinez lines one to left for a hit. It fell in front of Mondesi. 2nd hit of the ball game for the Giants. Bonds to 2nd on the play, 1st and 2nd, and nobody out. We told you about the Atlanta uprising in the bottom of the 1st. Now let's show you the 2nd of the 2 RBI singles. This one by Terry Pendleton off Armando Reynoso. Little flare into right center to bring in Ron Gant to make it 2-0. David Justice drove in the 1st. And the batter is Royce Clayton. Dodgers anticipate a bunt. Clayton turned as if to bunt, then took it back and looked at a ball. Royce has driven in 70 runs, batting 7th this year. And of course, it helps to have the number 5 hitter Bonds on base 48% of the time.
See those 70 RBIs? He ties Chris Spire for the most by a Giant shortstop. And that's why I think that was a decoy. I think the first bunt attempt was a decoy. I think he'll be hitting.
Squares to bunt, and he popped it up. Wallach charging, can't get it. It falls in foul territory.
You know, you've got Jeff Reed, your 8th place hitter, on deck, and then the pitcher coming up after that. You're taking the bat out of a player's hand who's driven in 70 runs this year. I think often in a situation like this, if there's Jeff Reed, when a manager is in doubt whether to bunt or swing away, that's a good time to use the hit and run. It's a very adventurous play, but only because the Giants have 2 or 3 games left to go in the season.
And Dusty Baker has talked about Clayton's excellent ability as a hit and run man. Yeah, he turns to bunt. You're right. If he bunts and it's successful, that leaves first base open. They'll probably walk Reed and pitch to the pitcher Hickerson.
Yeah, that's what also going back to the 1st inning, we were talking about how managers become overly cautious. I think you do in October what you thought about doing in April.
Certainly for most of the year, the Giants have played a more aggressive style than this strategy would indicate. Tried to get the bat out of the way, and he fouled it off on the pitch up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count.
But see, in the process, there are 2 strikes now on Clayton. The 1 bunt was foul, and now he went around to bunt and brought it back to hit, and the inside fastball eats him up.
At Atlanta, Damon Berryhill has just flied out to end the 1st. He ended the inning with runners on 1st and 2nd, so the Braves got 2. And after an inning at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, Atlanta leads Colorado 2-0. Check swing and a breaking ball low and away, and now the count is full. Atlanta had 4 hits in that first inning, all of them singles. The RBIs by Justice and Pendleton. Now the question here is, will the runners be off with the count 3-2 and nobody out?
I think you send them. Barry Bonds, great speed at second base. Martinez, a good base runner at first. Fair speed.
The runners do not go. Clayton lifts it foul.
Again, a cautious approach. You know, it wasn't caution that won 102 ball games for the Giants. It was a relentless, aggressive style of play. And certainly you can understand the situation. Both managers meaning Bobby Cox in Atlanta and Dusty Baker with the Giants, trying not to make a mistake. When that happens, often you're more inclined to make one.
Another 3-2 pitch, fouled off the end of the bat. I think we were both impressed being around the Giants for much of the day yesterday with how loose they are, particularly Dusty Baker in his first season as a major league manager. We didn't really detect any obvious outward signs of pressure on any of the members of the Giants contingent.
Yeah, genuinely loose too, where they're not doing it for show. As you take a look at Robbie Thompson, hit by a Trevor Hoffman fastball 8 days ago. That is an ugly looking left eye that he has, and he wears that, as Pat O'Brien said, that Bill Laimbeer mask to take ground balls during infield.
He took grounders and batting practice before the game today. Clayton bounces one down to first. Carroll's to Offerman, and they eliminate the middleman. Martinez forced at second, but Bonds moved up to third on the play. And safe at first on the fielder's choice is Royce Clayton. So they have first and third and 1 out in a scoreless ball game at the top of the second.
I guess this was a wholesale out. If you eliminate the middleman, that's usually what happens, right? Karras over to Jose Offerman. No chance for a double play. The ball wasn't hit hard enough.
So now Jeff Reed, as we noted earlier, he is somewhat of a surprise starter today, given that Man-Waring has been the Iron Man behind the plate. Reed, a .267 average with 6 home runs and only 12 runs batted in. He's appeared in 64 games, has been to the plate 116 times with 31 hits. Ball 1. The 6 home runs for Reed, a big surprise this year. He's never had more than 6 as a professional in the minors or the majors. And he reached 6 only one time in his professional career prior to this year, back in 1983 when he was in the Twins organization at Double-A Orlando. Two balls and no strikes, 1 out. Runners at first and third, no score in the top of the second. Check swing at a ball outside. Now it's 3-0 with the pitcher Hickerson to follow.
So with that in mind, do you give Jeff Reed the hit sign? We'll see what Dusty Baker does. I'd let him hit here. Take advantage of a first and third and 1 out situation. If it were second and third, Tommy Lasorda would probably walk him in this situation.
All 4, no chance for Reed to swing even if he had the green light. The pitch was way outside. So Hershiser has walked 2 in the inning. Well, one of these 2 teams, the Braves or Giants, will join this list. There have been 7 teams prior to this year that have won 100 games in Major League Baseball and have not made it to the postseason. And either the Braves or the Giants will be the 8th.
The 1954 Yankees, it's interesting that year they won 103 ball games, more than the previous 5 years. In all 5 of the previous years they won the World Championship.
Wallach in on the grass at third as Hickerson takes the 5th straight ball from Hershiser. Wallach backed up a step. Pitching coach Ron Peranowski is on his way to the mound.
Just a matter of Peranowski trying to encourage Hershiser. You can't tell a pitcher a lot about mechanics in the heat of a game. You work on mechanics after a game, before a game. During a game, forget about the mechanics and work from the shoulders up. Check up from the neck up.
Talked about the loose attitude of the Giants, and Dusty Baker managing a laugh despite the pressure. And finally, after 5 straight balls, Hershiser is in with a strike. The Rockies have been retired in the top of the second, again without scoring, by Greg Maddux. So the Braves are coming up against Reynoso, leading 2-0 in the home half of inning 2. A chance for the Giants to assume the lead here. The base is loaded and 1 out. Slowly towards second. Reed did not apply the tag, and a run scores. Bonds in from third to make it 1-0 San Francisco. And the pitcher Hickerson picks up an RBI, his 4th of the year.
Hickerson does not hit it hard enough to get the double play the conventional way, so Jody Reed realizes that he has to try to tag Jeff Reed. So one Jay Reed trying to tag another Jay Reed, but Hickerson has an RBI. Here he's going back to the dugout, and they're shaking his hands for not hitting the ball hard enough to get into double play. So baseball is a funny game.
It is indeed. It's a special skill to be able to not hit it hard enough to bounce into the double play. And the bonus is that there are 2 more men in scoring position. Lewis tries to bunt, and Karros missed it with the dive. Excellent effort, as Karros had a long way to go. One of the things that I've always found surprising about Dodger Stadium, Tim, is despite the fact that this ballpark was built for baseball, there is an awful lot of room in foul ground behind the plate.
Catcher and a first baseman need per diem going from their positions back toward the crowd. Only the Oakland Coliseum has more foul territory than Dodger Stadium. That's important too, because a lot of times the hitter does not get his pitch. He pops it up, and a lot of stadiums would be out of play, but in this stadium a lot of balls are playable.
0-1 the count on Lewis. Bounce to the first baseman. Karros unassisted his first time up. Pop foul and out of play. He has been struggling, but were you surprised by the bunt try on the first pitch with 2 men in scoring position?
With
and
2
2
men,
outs?
yeah, if there's a guy at third and 2 outs, it would have been no surprise. But the Giants so far are playing a very odd game, but they're still up 1-0.
Lewis bothered of late by a sore shoulder that's getting better, but it still does affect his throwing and his swinging. To his credit, Lewis has been reluctant to talk about it and use it as an excuse. One 1-0 Giants. They're batting in the second. They have Royce Clayton at third and Jeff Reed at second, with 2 outs for Darren Lewis, the 6th batter of the inning. Piazza will stroll to the mound to talk with Hershiser.
Well, sometimes a pitcher may want location. He may want definitely to throw the ball outside, and the catcher may want it definitely inside. If a pitcher goes according to what the catcher wants, a pitch like that will probably be right down the middle of the plate. So it's always good to go out and make sure what road you're on.
And there's a look at the runners. Clayton at third, Reed at second. The outfield swung way around toward right for Darren Lewis, and he slapped it out of play to the right. Giants, the leading team in the National League in batting average at .277, 3 points better than the Rockies and Phillies. The Phillies far and away the league leaders in runs scored.
outside. Tough play. Great diving stop by Karros. He threw it behind Hershiser. Safe at first. Jim Quick pondered the call for a moment and then ruled Lewis safe. Clayton scored to make it 2-0. Karros made an excellent stop, ranging a long way to his right, but then his throw was a little bit behind Hershiser.
He didn't lead Oral enough. It was an acrobatic play by Hershiser. And the same for Karros. Actually, the ball comes out of the glove. He throws it behind Hershiser, and when Oral makes the catch, he's about 4 inches off the bag right there. Fine call by Jim Quick, the first base umpire.
It wasn't a quick call by Jim, but it was the right one. So first and third now. And 2 outs for Steve Scarsoni. The Giants lead 2-0 in the second. Scarsoni out in a fly ball to deep right his first time up. Ball hit by Lewis, scored a hit on RBI. He runs on the pitch. Piazza throws through, not in time. And the Giants leader in stolen bases, Darren Lewis, has his 46th.
That's what Dusty Baker told us. When Lewis gets on, he's sending him. He is not going to waste any time. And here with 2 outs on the first pitch, Darren Lewis steals second easily.
So 2 men in scoring position for Scarsoni. Lewis now tied with Greg Jeffries of St. Louis for 4th in the league in stolen bases. Florida's Chuck Carr leads the circuit with 56. Only 2 hits in the inning, but the Giants have scored twice. They've taken advantage of 2 walks by Hershiser. 1-1 on Scarsoni. Check swing. They appeal down to first. No swing, says Jim Quick.
Oh, we'll see if Steve goes too far. It's close, but both Quick and home plate umpire Jerry Crawford said no. No other opinions matter.
No question about that swing. 2-2 now. Robbie Thompson went to Dusty Baker after the game last night and asked to be in the starting lineup today. Baker said he didn't think so. Dusty was asked by Thompson to sleep on it. Dusty did think about it, came back today, talked with his coaches, and decided that they would be best served waiting another day or 2, perhaps, to play Thompson. Scarsoni strikes out, ending the inning. But the Giants get 2, and after an inning and a half, it's 2-0 San Francisco.
Safety is something we all think about. Buick has considered the subject from many angles. So for frontal impacts, Buick Regal offers a driver's side airbag. And for side impacts, Regal meets 1997 government safety standards right now. 3 years in advance. Why has Buick put so much into Regal? Because you put so much into Regal. Regal from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
You work harder, you get better, right? But working to condition my perm made it flatter. Then I found this, a new Pert Plus, just right for perms. Using a separate conditioner after you shampoo can flatten your perm. This is better. It leaves hair fuller. It cleans gently, then conditions just where you need it. So your hair is fuller and soft, too.
New Pert Plus for permed and color-treated hair. Fuller hair. No fuss.
Hold on. I don't just overnight the package.
Yeah, sure. Overnight it. Might as well overnight it.
Overnight this.
Overnight that. Overnight.
Overnight. Sometimes overnight is overkill. So kick the habit with Priority Mail from the Postal Service. It's not overnight, but it's fast delivery, special handling, and 2 pounds is only $2.90.
Morning. Thanks.
When overnight is overdoing it, remember, we deliver for you. Call and we'll start today.
You're unbelievable. You're so unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable.
A message from Major League Baseball.
Batting fifth for the Dodgers.
The battles of October begin Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time with Game 1 of the American League Championship Series here on CBS as Paul Molitor and the Blue Jays travel to Chicago to take on the White Sox. First pitch 8:12 Eastern time. Guzman against McDowell. Game 2 of the ALCS Wednesday at 3 Eastern time. First pitch 3:07. And then the National League Championship Series gets underway Wednesday night at 8 Eastern. Either the Braves or Giants will be at Philadelphia to take on John Kruk and the Phillies. Giants lead 2-0 as the Dodgers bat. In the second here at Dodger Stadium, Corey Snyder leads off against Brian Hickerson. He bunts the breaking ball down to third. An excellent bunt. Williams, the barehanded play. It gets by Clark. Backed up by Scarsone. I don't think Snyder realized the ball got by Clark. He just kept running down the right field line. It's a hit for Corey Snyder.
Matt Williams playing Snyder back. They were teammates last year. Snyder signing with the Dodgers as a free agent. Matt does all he can, but the short hop scoots by Will Clark, and it's backed up nicely by Steve Scarsone. Matter of fact, the ball, or I guess that was Snyder that knocked the glove off of Will Clark's right hand on that play. Will Clark playing with a huge brace on his right knee. He hurt that knee in that Atlanta series back in late August. There's that knee, or the knee brace on his right knee.
First pitch to Tim Wallach, a ball. Will's whole lower body aches. He has had a very tough year physically with his legs. Fouled a number of pitches off his feet and ankles. Spent some time on the disabled list with the knee problem. Dickerson throws to first. Braves were retired by Reynoso without scoring in the second. So Atlanta and Colorado have gone to the top of the third. Still 2-0 Braves. Braves had 2 men on again in the second. Ron Gant popped out to end that inning. They come after Reynoso early. That's well hit but well fouled. And well played by the ball boy, number 93. The way the Dodgers have played in the field the last 2 years, they might want to think about putting old number 93 somewhere between the lines.
Now, if you're 93 in baseball, you're usually a ball boy or a spring training irregular guy in A-ball. If you're 93 in football, you might be Fred Dreyer, though. Big end on defense for the Rams for so many years.
I'm with you. I was still thinking about the irregular guy in spring training during number 93.
Well, the point is that the 90s in football could be a great number, but not in baseball.
And he does have a name, by the way, Enrique. Perhaps more bran in the diet for those guys in spring training wearing number 93. 1-2, the count on Wallach. Up the middle, past Hickerson and through into center field. Snyder stops at second. So here come the Dodgers. After the Giants scored twice in the top of the inning, they have first and second and nobody out.
Good hitting by Wallach. Fastball on the edge of the plate. He smacks it up the middle instead of trying to pull the ball.
Three hits given up now by Hickerson. He'll work next to the number 7 hitter, the left fielder, Raul Mondesi. Mondesi, a 22-year-old rookie, has hit .296 since coming up from AAA Albuquerque. He's appeared in 40 games for Los Angeles. Has been to the plate 81 times with 24 hits.
Brought up on August 31st when Eric Davis was traded to the Detroit Tigers. Good-looking young player.
No sign of a bunt. He foul tipped the first pitch into the mid of Reed. There are some who believe that Mondesi will be the opening day center fielder next year for Los Angeles, with Brett Butler coming into an option year of his contract. The Dodgers are going to bring Butler back
It would cost them $3.5 million in 1994, or they can buy Brett out for $500,000. They think that Mondesi is ready to play in the major leagues. He's matured. He had some problems off the field last year. He missed a team flight when he was at Albuquerque in May of last season, when he found out that Tom Goodwin got called up to the majors instead of Mondesi. Mondesi quickly in the hole, 0-2. Jody Reed is on deck. We're in the bottom of the second. The Giants lead 2-0, but the Dodgers have the first 2 men on. Slapped to second, a double play ball. Scarsoni stayed with the bad hop, and Clayton's throw goes off the glove of Clark. And here comes Snyder to the plate with the first Los Angeles run. It's 2-1. The Giants, the best fielding team in the league this year, had a chance to turn 2, but did not. It got even worse than that when the throw clanged off the glove of Clark.
Well, this ball hit hard enough for 2. But you can see Royce Clayton's throw toward the home plate slide, and that primarily because of the slide of Tim Wallach. A base runner sliding into second base has to be able to touch the bag, and Wallach barely touched the bag in an effort to try to take Clayton out of there. Fine takeout slide, bad throw, and the Dodgers are on the board.
An error charged to Clayton, the first error of the ball game. 27th committed by Clayton. Many of those were early in the year. Royce committed 14 errors rather in the first 30 games, and then settles down. Dusty Baker thought his early season fielding problems might have been a result of too much weightlifting in the off season, that his body was a bit too bulky. Mondesi safe on the fielder's choice because you cannot assume the double play, but he is not credited with an RBI. Snyder scoring from third on the error.
Here's that slide by Tim Wallach. A player must be able to reach the bag, and Wallach with the fingertips reaches the bag, but in the process he pushed Clayton way out towards shallow right field. I mean, you won't see too many shortstops that far off the base trying to avoid the slide. Fine takeout slide by Tim Wallach.
And even though Clayton was charged with the error, certainly Clark could have fielded the throw had he been willing to come off the bag a bit more quickly. He was trying to maintain contact with the bag to get double play, even though it looked like Mondesi was going to beat the throw had it been on the money. 2-1 San Francisco. Reed at the plate. He fouls one off. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out. Mondesi at first. Greg Maddux has pitched 3 perfect innings for Atlanta, and the Braves are now coming to bat in the bottom of the third, still leading 2-0. They pitch out. One further note on Mondesi: whether or not he is in the lineup next year won't be contingent upon Butler. The Dodgers have decided to bring Brett Butler back next year, ending speculation that had gone on through most of this season. That decision was made 2 weeks ago. For most of the year, the speculation had been that Mondesi might be the center fielder next year, and perhaps he still might. A strike. Jody Reed didn't like it. 2-2 on the former Boston Red Sox second baseman, who didn't particularly enjoy his time in Boston. He loves it here in LA.
Under the hands by Henderson. Looked like it had enough of the plate. This is the best view. Close enough.
The 2-2 pitch. Slap to center and sinking fast. That's in for a hit. Mondesi is speeding toward third. He'll get there without a throw. So Jody Reed is single to center, sending the tying run to third, and putting the go-ahead run at first with 1 out in the Los Angeles second.
Jody Reed, not only does he get a hit, but he gets it to right center, and that allows Mondesi to go to third. And an extra weapon for the Dodgers today is coming up to the plate. Oral Hershiser, far from an outman, with 26 hits this year, enters the game batting .366. His 26 hits are a career high. The high for a Dodger pitcher. Hits per season. Don Drysdale had 39 in 1965.
And the National League record for batting average by a pitcher is held by John Bentley, who set the record. He had .406 with New York in 1923. For a while, Hershiser was threatening that mark. He's already turned the bunt, and he took a fastball up and in for ball one. There is action now in the San Francisco bullpen, and this is the kind of situation, Tim, in which you would expect that Dusty Baker wouldn't be too patient with the starter.
Giants down to a point where the starting pitcher is only the guy who starts the game. Whether he goes 5 innings or not is irrelevant. Today it's a day that Dusty Baker will use all of his pitchers today and tomorrow, as Jeff Brantley is warming for the Giants. Hard for me to believe that Oral Hershiser is going to be bunting in this situation, however, with the year that he's had with the bat. A lot of times he squares around, brings the bat back, and swings it, and he's good at it too.
Now they have the runner caught between home and third. Apparently Mondesi thought it was a squeeze play. Hershiser didn't offer at it. Mondesi stayed in the rundown long enough to get Reed to third. 2 men at third. And Clark went crashing into Jody Reed. And Joey Amalfitano, almost the third man in, the hockey equivalent of that rule, as he was right on the bag along with Mondesi and Reed, telling Mondesi to make sure he stayed on the bag.
I got to believe Oral Hershiser missed this sign, and that is a real rarity. He rarely misses a sign. Jeff Reed gets rid of it quickly. Mondesi in the rundown. And now back to Clayton. Will Clark joins the track meet, and he sees Reed go to third. Now watch him tag Reed with the glove hand, and then he tries to hold Mondesi. Obviously, when he makes the tag with the glove hand, Reed is automatically out. Mondesi's control of the bag. He tagged Reed with the glove hand and tried to tag Mondesi with his bare hand, but he didn't have a ball in it.
He really should have tagged Joey Amalfitano as well, too. Then
just tag everybody, right?
3 in 1. Now it's a runner at third with 2 outs and a count of 1-1 on Hershiser. Again, he runs up to bunt, and he fouled it off. 1-2. So a break for the Giants. The play on Reed goes 2-5, 2-6-3.
The reason that I think Hershiser missed the sign, it's very difficult if you're right next to the coach. Usually the runner at third has a word sign, and it's very easy to find out whether you're squeezing or not. But I think if anybody missed the squeeze sign, and certainly someone did, it was probably Hershiser.
Now it's 1-2 on Oral. 2 outs, a runner at third in the bottom of the second. The Giants lead 2-1. A 1-2 pitch. Fouled back to the screen. Braves are threatening again in the home half of the third. They have runners at first and third and nobody out as they try to build on a 2-0 lead. Brian Hickerson spent 4 years at the University of Minnesota. His 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, pulled foul into the stands and left. Earlier this season, a couple of weeks ago on September 15th, Hershiser was in the starting lineup in a game at San Diego as the third baseman. Tommy Lasorda had no intention of playing him there. He simply wanted to get Dave Hansen a chance to come up and set the team record for pinch hits in a season. Lasorda was widely criticized for that, saying that he was lessening the value of the record by going about it the way he did. Hershiser slaps one seats in right. But Oral Hershiser thought it was terrific. As a matter of fact, he kept the scorecard from that game in which he was listed as the starting third baseman, and he asked the Dodger broadcasters for a tape of the radio broadcast during which they announced the starting lineups.
We talked about his hitting and what kind of year he's having. He's a terrific athlete. That's something you don't often use when you talk about pitchers. You don't talk about them in terms of their athleticism. They're specialists.
Chopped down the line, foul ball. Of course, it would be a great thing to have a tape of just about anything Vin Scully does. There's the Hall of Fame longtime Dodger voice. Not only, in the opinion of many, the greatest ever to broadcast this sport, but also one of the nicest guys in our profession, without any question.
Certainly is. Absolutely.
Of course, the one hang-up that nearly thwarted Hershiser's getting the starting nod at third base was he has a clause in his contract that says after 30 starts he gets $250,000 for every start thereafter, and Dodgers wanted to make sure that Oral realized that was starts as a pitcher. He didn't get $250 for being in the starting lineup briefly at third base. Since this is the 33rd start as a pitcher for Oral this year, he collects another $250,000 with this appearance. Terry Pendleton, with 5 runs batted in last night, has 2 today, and it's now 3-0. He grounded out to bring in Fred McGriff with the 3rd Atlanta run. We're still in the bottom of the 3rd, and Hershiser chops another one foul. Well, he is not going down without a fight, and now the fans are applauding this at bat of Hershiser.
I see most pitchers, once they chop one down the third baseline, they just kind of run slowly down there. Well, Hershiser was really digging going down to first, and the fans appreciated it. We talked about his athleticism. He's a scratch golfer, great hockey player in high school. He's from Buffalo, big fan of the Buffalo Sabres. He grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, right across from Philadelphia.
He might be getting a little pooped. It was time walking back from first. Another 1-2 by Hickerson. Little looper in the direction of the shortstop Clayton. He did a tap dance but took it in for the final out of the inning. The Dodgers get only 1. They leave the tying run at third. 2-1 San Francisco after 2.
I'm a 35-year-old woman who loves Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. This is my story. I knew it was for kids, so I had an arrangement with the stock boy at the market. I'd pay for it, and when the coast was clear, he'd hand over the box, and that frosted crunch would be mine. All mine. Of course, it's all behind me now. They deliver.
There's no disguising it. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
If you care about this big, beautiful world, show me.
Don't give me another toxic antifreeze.
Give me something different. Don't just tell me how it protects to 70 below.
And guards against rust?
Any antifreeze can do that. Tell me it's safer for my dog, my family, the kids.
Tell me nothing protects better.
And it's biodegradable.
That's what I want to know.
That's what I want to hear.
New Sierra. It's not just antifreeze, it's safety freeze.
Just northwest of Kalispell, Montana, there's a place where you can punch cattle instead of a time clock and discover what horsepower is really about. It's the Hargrave Cattle and Guest Ranch, where you can ride them and rope them like they used to. But if you go, you got to pull your own weight and pull out your Visa card. Because at Hargrave, they don't take the tin horns and they don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Someone very special is on that train. That's why you're driving a Buick LeSabre. You love its powerful V6 engine, anti-lock brakes, and steel safety cage body unit. But you bought LeSabre for the dual airbags, one for you and one for that very special person who sits next to you. LeSabre from Buick. the new symbol for quality in America.
The probable starting pitchers here at Dodger Stadium tomorrow for the final game of the regular season for these two teams. Solomon Torres for San Francisco and Kevin Gross for Los Angeles. And down at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, it'll be Tom Glavine in search of win number 22 for Atlanta against David Need of Colorado, their first draft pick. Those are the matchups tomorrow. Dusty Baker pondered his decision about his starting pitcher for tomorrow's game for a long time. Said he prayed about it for several nights. He pondered going with Jim Deshaies or Scott Sanderson. Mark Lemke has driven in another run with a ground out, and Atlanta's lead is up to 4-0. So the Braves are off and running, and the Giants are in a tight one, leading 2-1 as they come up in the third with Will Clark, who singled to right his first time up. Of the candidates to start tomorrow, Tim, for San Francisco, Deshaies and Sanderson or Torres. Torres is the most talented. At age 21, though, the concern was about his ability to handle the situation. Would Dusty Baker be better served to go with Deshaies or Sanderson? But they'll both be ready to go very early should Torres flounder. Will Clark with his 6th hit in the last 2 ball games. He's 2 for 2 today.
Talked about that brace on Will Clark's right knee. That classic follow through by Clark. Great extension. The straight right knee. Straight right leg. And another hit. He is now 6 for his last 7. I think Dusty Baker's thinking on that is to go with Torres. He's the younger, the stronger guy. And if he gets in trouble, as you said, Sanderson and Deshaies in the wings.
And perhaps Dave Burba. Been excellent in long relief this year. Williams drives one toward the 395 mark in center, and that one is over the fence on a hop. Perhaps a bad break for San Francisco. Had it stayed in the park, Clark had a chance to score from first, but now with the ground rule double, will have to go back to third, and Williams is aboard with a 2-base hit.
Williams actually does not get all of this ball. It's a little above the trademark, but he is so strong. And I think you're right, Sean. If this ball stayed in the ballpark, Clark scores easily on it.
And isn't this interesting? At Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers are being booed for pitching around Barry Bonds. We talked earlier about Tommy Lasorda's decision to pitch to Bonds last night in the 5th inning of a 4-4 game, when San Francisco had runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. Dave Martinez hitting .238 on deck. They pitched to Bonds with Omar Dahl, and he had a 2nd home run of the night, a 3-run homer to give San Francisco a 7-4 lead, which they would not relinquish.
That is Barry's 33rd intentional walk of the year. That leads the majors.
Kip Gross is warming up in the Los Angeles bullpen. So the bases are full with nobody out for Dave Martinez. Starting for Willie McGee, who, like Robbie Thompson, tried to convince Dusty Baker to put him in the lineup today, but Baker exercised caution in both cases. Two-1 San Francisco in the third. Bases full and nobody out. Martinez single to left his first time up, and he looked at ball 1 high.
Remember that at bat by Hershiser, Sean, when you mentioned that he was exhausted running those foul balls out, and he's pitching like he's exhausted this inning. Even though he did not get on base, he did hit a lot of foul balls, ran hard to first. The fans appreciated it. You wonder whether that didn't tire him out quite a bit. He's certainly pitching like that this inning.
And it was the final out of the inning, so he had no chance to go back into the dugout or clubhouse. Bases full of Giants. Will Clark started the inning with a single. He's now at third. Matt Williams doubled. He's still at second. And Barry Bonds was intentionally walked. He's at first.
He walked and scored, leading off last inning. On the inside corner, a ball, 2 strikes on Martinez. Big part of the Giants' success this year has been the bench play. Guys like Martinez and Scarsoni and Todd Benzinger have come through time and time again. The 1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dusty Baker talks about how important a bench is in the National League, where you make so many double switches and you bat for the pitcher so often. Some teams are content to lower the payroll by having guys making $150,000 on the bench. He and Bob Quinn, the new general manager, weren't reluctant to spend money for bench players, and that has paid off for them. Of course, when you give $43 million to one guy over 6 years, you might as well go the rest of the way and try to solidify your team in every area.
I don't think the Giants realize how quickly they would get dividends on their investment of Barry Bonds. He has just been remarkable.
Hershiser taking a lot of time with the count 2-2, and finally Martinez asked out. Steve Wilson has joined Kip Gross in the bullpen for Los Angeles. But a 2-2 pitch, slapped down the left field line, slicing toward the line, and just foul. Within a foot or two of the left field line, an extra base hit for Martinez.
And the oohs and the ahs and the moans are felt and heard throughout the Bay Area. 6 inches foul. Possibly 3 runs would have scored with Bonds and his speed on first base.
Jody Reed has joined Hershiser and Piazza at the mound. Among those in attendance today, Bobby Thompson, the man who hit the home run in 1951. He's on the left. Hard to believe, longtime baseball fans, that Bobby Thompson will turn 70 years old in a couple of weeks. Peter McGowan, the Giants principal owner, also in your picture. He brought Bobby Thompson for this series as a good luck charm, and so far that move has paid off. Chopped foul, still 2-2 on Martinez. And if there's a playoff game Monday night between the Braves and Giants, it'll be at Candlestick. And Peter McGowan has said that he'll have Bobby Thompson throw out the first ball. Bases loaded, nobody out. 2-1 San Francisco in the top of the 3rd.
Ooh, that was almost a balk. Hershiser was on the rubber, and that right hand went up. And then it went back down. That was very, very close to a balk.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball lifted in a shallow right. A very long run for Snyder and Reed, and it's Reed with the over-the-shoulder catch. Clark did not tag. He played it halfway down the line. So after the long at bat, Martinez fails to get the job done. He's out on the pop-up to Reed in shallow right.
So Jody Reed in double play position, retreats to make the catch, but think about that line drive down the left field line that Martinez hit. That probably would have cleared the bases. It would have at least been 4-1 Giants. He missed an extra base hit by about 4 inches.
Now Royce Clayton reached on a fielder's choice and scored last inning.
Another pop-up. Reed out. Snyder in. Reed, a tougher play this time. Again, Clark played it halfway down the line.
You can't do anything other than that. You've got to be halfway on a ball that's not hit deeply, because if you're tagging up, you're liable to be tracked down by the guy on second, crawling right up your back. This is a fine play by Jody Reed. Full extension. He stops in time and has the wherewithal to realize that there could be a play at the plate. But Will Clark has to be halfway on both of those balls. There's nothing else he can do.
Jody Reed spent much of the early part of his career as a shortstop. Still has a very strong throwing arm despite having made the transition to second base. So the bases are still loaded with 2 outs now. They loaded the bases with nobody out. And it's up to Jeff Reed to get the job done for San Francisco. Hershiser, all bulldogged by Tommy Lasorda for his ability over the years to battle through so many tough situations. Trying to do that again here in the third. Reed chopped one foul past Bobby Bonds in the first base coach's box. The Rockies are threatening for the first time today. They have 2 men on in the top of the 4th, down 4-0 in Atlanta. 2 men on with 1 out for the Rockies against Maddox. Here it's the bases loaded with 2 outs for the Giants. They lead 2-1 in the third. 0-1 the count on Reed, who walked last inning. Down to third. Wallach played it on a hop. He goes to Reed. Out at second. Very close play. And Tommy Lasorda and the Dodgers get out of the inning unscathed.
Boy, has this been Jody Reed's inning? After that dazzling play, he jumps up and makes the tag on Barry Bonds.
And we'll return to Dodger Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
A family's Wild West adventure just got a little wilder.
Let go of the rope, you nincompoop!
Bo Bridges, Lloyd Bridges, and guest star Mark Harmon, all new Hearts of the West. Then, when escaped cons take a ranger hostage,
Gonna have to keep my eye on you.
can one man save it? Chuck Norris is.
Give us a big smile.
Walker, Texas Ranger, tonight. A mother's vacation turns into a nightmare when she becomes the prey of a sadistic hunter. Victoria Principal. River of Rage, Sunday, contains some violent scenes.
This is CBS.
On the next Bertice Berry Show, you're invited to attend daytime soap's greatest weddings.
Love and to cherish until death do us part.
Join your favorite stars as they relive the most unforgettable moments.
This is your son.
Go behind the scenes
I was really nervous.
and share in their most intimate secrets.
Just to stand over the bed and watch.
If you love the soaps, you mustn't miss this soap wedding extravaganza on the next Bertice Berry Show.
Bertice Berry, Monday at 9 on TV2.
I just bought another car at Ray Whitfield Ford and saved over $1,500. Now that's a doggone good deal.
I wouldn't think of buying a used car anywhere else but Allen Ford for my family.
I just bought 2 new Fords and saved over $4,500.
Here, dog. Come on, dog. Me and dog want you to go to Telegraph Road right now. Get a good deal.
Allen Ford, Telegraph north of Square Lake Road. Ray Whitfield Ford, Telegraph north of Goddard.
I don't know what we're doing out here. You can't play any of these games.
I'm so sick of hearing that garbage. I'll tell you what, you beat me, we'll name it the Denny and Eli Show.
It should be the Denny and Eli Show. Off the glass, pal.
Through the circle, off the stairs, just net.
Off the floor, off the scoreboard, off the glass, no rim.
Eli and Denny, Sundays at noon.
Off I-75, off the Silver Dome, and my friend, the show is mine.
Wake up with Eyewitness Weekend, Sunday morning at 8 on TV2.
What a brilliant defensive play by Jody Reed. A high throw from Wallach. Reed catches the ball up and then comes down to make the tag on the chest of Barry Bonds. What a defensive inning that was for Jody Reed. For the second out, ranging over toward the right field line to make the catch. Tell you, if the Giants go on and lose this game and then lose the pennant as a result, That third inning will be talked about for a long time in the Bay Area. Dave Martinez just missing the double by about 4 inches with the bases loaded and nobody out, and they end up coming up empty.
Reed and Hershiser combining to keep the Giants scoreless in the third. So their lead is still 2-1 as the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the third with the top of the order. There's Hershiser. Watch the first 3 men reach. Then got the 2 pop-ups to Reed and the 1 hopper down to Wallach. The throw handled beautifully by Reed to end the inning. San Francisco has already left 6 men on base through 3 innings. Well, Lasorda has Butler, Offerman, and Piazza coming up. Butler swung at a 2-0 and fouled it off. 2 balls and 1 strike with Williams in very tight at third. Darrell Boston has an RBI single for Colorado, and the Rockies are on the board. It's 4-1. That's only fair since Boston had a couple of home runs in the ball game earlier this week, which Colorado defeated San Francisco. Fastball for strike 2. The Rockies still at bat in the 4th. Have runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. Dickerson has an above average fastball. He'll get it up into the low 90s occasionally. Dick Cole says the key for Brian is to get his breaking ball and split finger pitch over early in the count, something he was unable to do early in the season.
Dickerson does not throw a slider. He has a fastball, a Taylor primarily. It tails into a left-hander, away from a right-hander. As you look at Offerman on deck, he will throw the curveball, but you're right. The key to his game is getting ahead so he's able to use the split finger fastball.
Slapped out of play. 2-2 on Butler. At the conclusion of today's game, Tim McCarver and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's name to the Special Olympics. You mentioned that the Dodgers have made the decision on Butler. He will return next year. Even bigger question here in LA is, will Darryl Strawberry be back with the Dodgers next season? He's currently in Arizona in the Instructional League. He's had a number of back problems. He's also had off the field problems that had the Dodgers openly talking about the possibility of voiding his contract, much as the Mets had talked about doing the same with Vince Coleman. They have 2 years left on Darrell's contract at about $8 million. That's lined into right center. A long run for Martinez. He has the ball bounce behind him. At least 2 for Butler, and he'll stop right there.
Martinez with a good effort, but he overruns the ball. The ball takes a tricky hop. Watch it bounce behind him. He tried to barehand it, thought about it, and then recovers in time to hold Butler to a double. There's that tricky hop. He actually overran the ball, and Butler, instead of being on first, is on second with nobody out.
It has been scored a double. The first extra base hit for Los Angeles. They have the tying run in scoring position with nobody out for Jose Offerman, who was out on the fly ball to Bonds in left, his first time up. Giants again anticipate a bunt from Offerman, and he does not disappoint. He squared the bunt, took a ball high. Matt Williams into the mound. Will Clark will join the conversation.
I think it's about his left rib cage. I think Hickerson may have re-injured that left rib cage. He was hit last Tuesday with a ball off the bat of Andres Galarraga, and now Dusty Baker calling for the trainer along with him, and we'll see if Hickerson's all right.
Well, he said last night that it was still sore, so it's certainly possible that
Now that he's pitched 2+ innings, it's even more tender. And again, Brantley warms up in the San Francisco bullpen. Jeff was up last inning. Should he be summoned, he'd have all the time he needs to warm up because it would be a pitching change due to injury, and he has been summoned. So Hickerson departs after 2 innings plus 1 batter in the 3rd. And Jeff Brantley will be the new pitcher when we come back to Dodger Stadium.
It's more fun than a root canal when the Prince of Pain rolls into town.
Mean Mr. Tooth Decay. I run.
And if that doesn't scare you, guess who's been cloned?
This every day one of us gets cast in wax.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Maybe he's hungry.
What do you say, fella? No, don't talk to it.
All new Northern Exposure, Monday.
If you demand more from an aftershave than alcohol burn, you gotta try new alcohol-free Sensitive from Old Spice with cooling sensates. It's proof aftershave doesn't have to hurt to work. Take the heat out of aftershave. Man proof. Try new Sensitive from Old Spice.
Some people get nasal congestion, but if you get sinus congestion, use a sinus spray like Sinex. Only Sinex has a decongestant plus Vicks Vapors, so you can feel your swollen passages open up. For sinus, think Sinex.
It may come as some surprise that a man actually ran a grueling 26-mile marathon in a pair of dress shoes. It will come as no surprise. They were Rockports. Rockport. You should be in our shoes.
People care about the world these days. They just don't want me to put another toxic antifreeze in their car. I mean, who needs toxic? So what if it protects to 70 below? Any antifreeze can do that. Tell me that it's different, safer. Tell me nothing protects better, and it's biodegradable. I mean, what if their dog gets into it? Or their kids? This is serious. It's a changing world. Poison's out.
New Sierra. It's not just antifreeze, it's safety freeze.
Tomorrow on the NFL Today, are the Cowboys ready for a Super Bowl run? I'll present the Bradshaw plan to curtail the kicking game, plus the battle Boomer Esiason and his son are fighting off the field. That's all tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on the NFL Today.
We told you the Rockies were on the board at Atlanta. Now let's show you how they got the run. Darryl Boston in the top of the 4th with a double into the right field corner off Greg Maddux. It scored Joe Girardi to cut the Atlanta lead to 4-1. And that's all the Rockies got in the top of the 4th. Rockies still trying to beat Atlanta for the first time this year. They're 0-11 against them. But since August 8th, Colorado has the 5th best record in all of Major League Baseball. Despite their loss last night to the Braves, they are still 31-19 over the last 50 games. 5th best in baseball, 3rd best in the National League, and they have already assured themselves of finishing their first year with a better record than their expansion partners, the Florida Marlins. And that's a big surprise because earlier in the year there was a lot of talk about how Florida seemed to have the much better team with an eye toward being good right away, while Colorado was taking a more long-term approach. Here's Jeff Brantley, and he'll have all the time he needs to warm up due to the injury departure of Brian Hickerson.
Yeah, there was talk about Florida being a better franchise than the Colorado Rockies immediately. They signed Brian Harvey. They got Walt Weiss to play shortstop, and then they traded for Gary Sheffield, and everybody says, well, this is just indicative that the Marlins are trying to win quicker than the Rockies. And here it is with 2 games left to go in the season, the Rockies with a better record than Florida.
And the Braves trying to do what no National League team has ever done, and that is sweep a season series from an expansion team. Dusty Baker said the other day, even if I played my daughter 13 times, she'd beat me at least once. So he's hoping for help at least once from the Colorado Rockies. Will be paired with the Giants under realignment next year in the National League West. The Dodgers, Giants, Colorado, and San Diego will make up the National League West. And there was talk on both sides here last night that the Rockies could become a contender very quickly with their resources, the way they've drawn. They have a lot of money. at their disposal, and they're not that far away from being a very competitive team. Offerman swings around to bat from the left. He drops down a very good bunt. Brantley's only play is at first, and he has to throw it there in a hurry to get Offerman for the first out of the inning. It's a sacrifice, 24th of the year for Jose, and now Butler is at third, representing the tying run with 1 out in the third.
Good move by Dusty Baker, knowing that Offerman was going to be sacrificing. He brings in Brantley, the tough right-hander, to pitch to Piazza and Karros, two tough right-handed batters.
Brantley, another guy like Hickerson, who's just about done everything for Dusty Baker. Start, short relief, close, long relief. Mike Piazza, the batter, the infield back. The outfield plays for the pull. Ball one outside.
Except for the right side. The left side of the infield, because of Piazza's power, is back. But at second base, Steve Scarsoni is in and Will Clark is in. Big, strong guy like Piazza, you cannot play him in on the left side with a one-run lead unless it's late innings.
That's up the middle and past Clayton. It's a tie ball game. The Giants and Dodgers knotted it too. And Mike Piazza has RBI number 108 of his rookie year.
The Dodger that drove in the most runs in his first year was Del Bisonetti back in 1928. Well, that is remarkable. Mike Piazza with 108 RBIs on the year. Del Bisonetti drove in 106 runs back in 28 for the then Brooklyn Dodgers.
Piazza has established the club rookie record for runs batted in. And he's at first, still only 1 out. That run charged to Hickerson. Brantley responsible for Piazza. So Hickerson worked 2 innings plus 1 batter in the third. He gave up 2 runs, both earned on 5 hits. He did not issue a walk. He struck out 1. To Karros. 1 ball and 1 strike. Eric bounced to short his first time up. Before the game yesterday, we watched Tommy Lasorda acting as hitting instructor, working with Karros, trying to prevent Eric from pulling open with that front foot, flying his hips open.
Eric has a tendency, said Tommy, to point the toe of his left foot toward the pitcher, and that opens up the bottom half, and that was it right there. That was an example of how the left foot flew open. Well, it's hard for the left foot to fly open and not have the hip and shoulder follow. Watch his left foot point toward the pitcher. You can see the bottom half flying out of there. They're trying to get him to hit against the side of that foot, because when you do that, you hit against the lower body, that stiff left leg.
Two the score in the bottom of the third. The Dodgers have just hit into a double play to end the inning. Karros with the soft line drive to second. Scarsoni through to Clark to double up Piazza. After 3, the Giants 2, the Dodgers 2.
So guess what happened when we told people what those cars cost?
Actually, I thought the Oldsmobile cost more than that.
The Oldsmobile, I think you're getting a fantastic car for the price.
If you consider how close the 3 cars are,
Yeah.
and they're very similar.
I couldn't tell any difference.
It's your money.
Is your company still mired in the fax technology of the past?
No. Stupid idea.
Get a Mita plain paper fax machine with 33% better resolution than 90% of the fax machines in use today. Unless you'd rather stay in the Stone Age. Call 1-800-ABC-META.
When the camera starts to roll, even one flake of dandruff can ruin it all. That's why I use Head & Shoulders. You know, it's even better than it was just a couple of years ago. Today, it gets to 10 times more of the places dandruff starts. Because great hair can't have flakes.
Welcome to the 21st century. Have a nice day. Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Demolition Man, rated R. Starts Friday, October 8th.
More Americans trust Napa for everything they need to keep their vehicles running and to help them save, too. Get this Napa Power Battery for just $29.99 after rebate. An Evercraft 30-piece socket set is just $14.99. And a 3-pack of STP gas treatment is a low $1.99. So run into your nearest Napa Auto Parts store today.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
This game summary is sponsored by Lotrimin AF.
If you're just joining us, Brian Hickerson, the San Francisco starting pitcher, left the ball game in the bottom of the third, apparently having aggravated the rib injury that he suffered in his last start. Giants took a 2-0 lead in this ball game, led 2-1 after 2, and then San Francisco left the bases loaded in the third. They've stranded 6 men through 3 innings. Meanwhile, the Braves lead the Rockies 4-1. They've gone to the top of the 5th. Fred McGriff made the final out of the 4th, the runner at second. Here it's 2-2 as we head to the 4th, and the pitcher Brantley bats. Jeff's 3 for 26 this year. All 3 of his hits singles. That computes to a 115 batting average. He'll be followed by the top of the order, Darren Lewis and Steve Scarsoni. Chop to Offerman at short. Tricky hop, he stayed with it. Throughout Brantley. We mentioned earlier that the playoffs begin on Tuesday night with Game 1 of the American League Championship Series, and we ask you to make note of the starting times. The first 2 games at Chicago, the middle 3 at Toronto, and the final 2 at Chicago if necessary. The starters for Game 1, Juan Guzman for Toronto, and Jack McDowell, the probable Cy Young Award winner in the American League for Chicago. Darren Lewis bounced to first in the first, had an infield hit to drive in a run in the second. I say probable Cy Young Award winner in the American League. Would you concur that he is likely to win that award? Jack McDowell?
I think so. It's an easy choice for him to open the series, too. It was not an easy choice for Cito Gaston. Do you choose a guy like Dave Stewart with playoff experience, or a younger, perhaps more talented right now, in Juan Guzman?
Chop to short. Offerman has to hurry, and he gets it there to get the speedy Lewis. That ball took a tricky hop, and many of the Giants prior to the game last night, we're talking about this infield. Looks beautiful on TV, but we've already seen a number of strange bounces. The Giant players were saying this is one of the worst infields in the National League.
Has a tendency to get hard and baked, taking a lot of play. But the one good thing you mentioned earlier, they do not play football on this infield, or outfield for that matter. This is a baseball-only stadium.
So quickly 2 away for Hershiser, who has not worked a 1-2-3 inning to this point. Swing and a miss by Scarsoni for strike 1. He flied to right in the first and struck out swinging in the second. One of 2 strikeouts recorded by Hershiser to this point.
The one pitcher in the American League that has been campaigned for as far as the Cy Young Award, Randy Johnson of Seattle. Over 300 strikeouts, 18 victories, and a terrific ERA.
At 3.24. Johnson also leads the American League in opponents' batting average against. They've hit only .203 against him. Scarsoni, swing and a miss. Piazza has to throw it down to first for the final out of the inning. So the Giants go in order for the first time in the 4th, and after 3.5, the Giants 2 and the Dodgers 2.
got to attack the courses. You've got to master the machinery. You've got to use all your resources.
It's not really that difficult to earn the name Goodwrench.
All it takes is all you've got.
Goodwrench, raising the standards of performance on the track and in your GM dealership.
Do you want to jam? Get new Nestle Crunch Jammin' Bars. Rip into rock, unwrap the rap, jazz, and reggae. Collect all 12 Nestle Crunch Jammin' designs. You want to jam? Get new Nestle Crunch Jammin' Bars.
What's IBM doing for customers these days? Ask DHL.
Overseas delivery is our bread and butter, so we needed a system that was international and open to working with other systems. That's where IBM came in.
Ask Sanyo.
We use IBM's Worldwide Information Network. It's everywhere we are, and IBM runs the whole thing. That frees us to focus on our own global operations.
If you've got global ambitions, talk to us. There's never been a better time to do business with IBM.
So do you know what happened when the Oldsmobile 88 LSS was tested independently against the Acura Legend L and Lexus ES300? Actually, no. Well, kind of, when you consider how much more those other cars cost. My point exactly, because we'd like to send you a free video of the test. Well, then how are you on toll-free numbers? It's your call.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by your GM Goodwrench dealer. AT&T, we help put your world within reach. And by IBM, there's never been a better time to do business with IBM.
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, our producer Bob Dekas, our director Bob Fishman. Happy to have you with us on this warm Saturday afternoon at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The Giants and Dodgers tied at 2 as LA gets ready to come up in the 4th. Corey Snyder led off the second with a bunt single, and he scored the first Los Angeles run of the game. He followed by Tim Wallach and Raul Mondesi against the reliever Jeff Brantley. Popped up in shallow center. Lewis fights the sun and makes the catch. 1 out. Tomorrow on the NFL Today, join Greg and Terry for all the latest NFL news, including an update on the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith is back starting, but are they ready for a Super Bowl run? If you're getting too much of a kick out of the NFL, check out the Bradshaw plan to eliminate field goals. And everybody knows the Jets' Boomer Esiason on the field, but off the field, he and his son are fighting a much more important battle. That's all tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on the NFL Today. All you need to know. Tim Wallach looked at ball 1. The Rockies did not score in the top of the 5th. The Braves now at bat, leading 4-1. They showed that score on the big screen out in left field here at Dodger Stadium during our commercial break between innings, and it was a very interesting reaction. There's been a lot of talk the last few days about how Los Angeles would love to spoil this season for the Giants because the Giants have done it to the Dodgers several times in the past. You don't sense that kind of venom in the stands. You might sense some hostility on the part of Tim Wallach as he is drilled by the Brantley pitch.
Fact of the matter is that there is no love lost between the Dodgers and the Giants, nor the Dodgers and the Braves. This one plunking Tim Wallach on the elbow. Wallach, a tough guy, on the disabled list for the first time in his career. And he has had assorted bruises over the years, but until this year he was never on the DL, so there's another bruise he can add to his list. Speaking of that Colorado game, there is a story within a story in that game. Andres Galarraga 1 for 2 in that game, and he will lead the National League in hitting. The first time ever that an expansion player leads the National League in hitting, or the American League for that matter. Galarraga with 500 at-bats, and to qualify for the batting title you need 502, and he'll get that easily.
1-0, the count on Raul Mondesi, who reached on a fielder's choice in the second. talking about the fan reaction here. Todd Benzinger, who plays for the Giants this year, last year played for the Dodgers, thinks that that rivalry between the Giants and Dodgers is much more intense in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Dodger fans don't dislike the Giants to the extent that Giants fans really don't like the Dodgers. And here in Los Angeles, with the Braves having been the class of this division the last 2 years, a lot of the ill will from Dodger fans is directed toward the Braves. Here's Todd Benzinger, another one of the very valuable bench players for San Francisco. Another pop-up right near the mound. Brantley wants it himself and makes the play. He called for a fair catch and made it a couple of feet in front of the mound.
Number 3, second baseman, Jody Reed.
Brantley calling off both Matt Williams and Will Clark. Fair catch with both hands. You usually see a fair catch with the right and left hand up, nor a glove on the left hand either.
George Seifert might want to sign up, Jeff, to return punts. Very clearly gave the fair catch signal. Jody Reed had a couple of very big catches when the Dodgers were in the field in the third. He's had a good day and is only at bat today. He lined a single into center. Mentioned earlier, Jody was quite open in his disdain for the Boston Red Sox. Wanted to leave Boston, and they let him go via the expansion draft. Now he very much wants to stay. He said if the Dodgers would give him a 3-year contract, he'd sign it. So far, that contract offer has not been forthcoming.
We understand that he's been offered a 2-year contract, but he's holding out for the 3rd. Actually signed as an expansion player and then traded from the Florida Marlins.
And another pop-up. Scarsoni puts it away, and that ends the inning. We've played 4 at Dodger Stadium. San Francisco 2, Los Angeles 2.
Ever wonder why a hamburger costs $10 in Tokyo? Or why a cab to the airport there runs about $120? Or why their luxury cars seem so expensive, especially when compared to the Oldsmobile 88 Special Edition, which, even with air, automatic, cruise, tilt, anti-lock brakes, and dual airbags, costs just $19,995? It's your money.
Fred's my AT&T sales rep.
The country gives me the creeps, but I came out here to tell Jan about AT&T's Maximum Advantage.
Everything about it is simple, except running it.
Maximum Advantage does the work for you. You're automatically enrolled. You get AT&T's best service at our lowest price guaranteed. We'll look at your calling patterns quarterly and make new recommendations. Jan, with our international fax and calling plans, our 800 service, you could be hosting the whole world that you're in.
Hi.
We're the Raskins. Ah, welcome.
Fred really knows my business. I'm sure I could get him up here full time.
The thing is, 2 scoops of raisins make Kellogg's Raisin Bran taste so good, people forget it's good for them. What do you think?
Tastes good.
And?
It's delicious.
That's the same thing. See, it's Kellogg's, remember, so it tastes good and it's good for you.
Right, I forgot.
That's all right. Let's try again.
It tastes good.
And?
It's tasty.
And?
It's really tasty.
There are 2 reasons to eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. The taste.
And?
They don't play kick the can like you used to. They don't dress the same way. They learned to read 3 years before you did. They've never owned a record. So why are you taking pictures of them with the same old film? Try Fujicolor Super G film. Because your pictures should be nostalgic. Your film shouldn't.
Will Clark is coming to the end of his 8th season with the Giants. We asked him to compare this team to other Giant teams.
This is definitely by far the best feeling. You know, if you'd have told me back in spring training that we'd have 100 wins before we got out of September, you know, I think everybody in the clubhouse would have sort of taken that and run to the bank, you know, and just chalked that up as a division title. But, you know, that's not going to happen this year. Ourselves and the Braves, it seems like we're going down the last 3 days here, and that's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's very pressure-packed.
He thinks this is a better team than the team in 1989 that went to the World Series and lost. Clark leading off the 5th in a 2-2 game. He has 2 singles today off Hershiser. 6 hits in his last 7 trips. That's off the end of the bat and foul. The Braves have scored 2 runs in the 5th, including another RBI for Terry Pendleton. He's driven in 3 today after his 5 last night, and Atlanta leads 6-1. Pendleton scored the 2nd run of the inning on a sacrifice fly by Damon Berryhill. Clark, a bullet and a fair ball down the right field line. Snyder fields it, and Clark is into second with a stand-up leadoff double. He's 7 for his last 8.
His first 4-hit game of the year and last night's game, and he's got another chance to do it again today. 2 singles, a double. Just inside the bag at first base. No chance for Karros, and Clark with his 27th double of the year. Lots been said about the Philadelphia Phillies and the gamers that they have. The San Francisco Giants can match them in that category.
6 hits for San Francisco. 3 of them belong to Clark. Hershiser had retired 6 in a row before the 2-base hit by Clark. Second double of the ball game for San Francisco. The other belongs to Matt Williams, who hit a rocket that went over the fence on 1 hop in the 3rd. And bear in mind, that potentially looms as a big play. It appeared that Clark would have scored from first, but the ball hopped over the fence, so Clark had to stop at 3rd with nobody out. He failed to score as Hershiser worked out of the 3rd inning jam. Breaking ball had Williams ducking out of the way.
Curveball inside, and fans here at the ballpark are not privy to the fact that that's a breaking ball. They think that might be in retaliation to Brantley hitting Tim Wallach. No chance.
We could hear Hershiser hollering, "Look out."
Yeah.
Squibber. Karros has a clang off his glove, and Williams is safe. Clark to 3rd on the play. It was a tough play for Karros. He might have been better served to let Jody Reed handle the ball, and had Eric done that, he could have covered first.
Well, often a second baseman will have a word sign with a first baseman. If he ranges too far to his right, the second baseman will yell something, "I've got it," something to that effect. The ball was not hit hard, but that is a huge play now in this inning, because now the Dodgers are forced to pitch to Barry Bonds.
It has been scored, an infield hit for Williams, so he's 2 for 3 today. 1st and 3rd and nobody out. The Giants threatening to reclaim the lead in a 2-2 ball game in the 5th. Barry Bonds the batter. Fastball high for ball 1. Barry has walked twice today. He led off the 2nd, was walked unintentionally, although it certainly appeared that they weren't taking any chances with him. He wound up scoring a run in the 2nd. He was intentionally walked below the bases in the 3rd, a move that paid off. For those of you who have been watching Colorado and Atlanta, we welcome you to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The Dodgers hosting the Giants in game 3 of this 4-game series. It's knotted at 2. San Francisco took a 2-0 lead with 2 runs in the 2nd, but LA tied it with single runs in the 2nd and 3rd. The Giants threatening to reclaim the lead here in the 5th with runners at 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Hershiser in this inning gave up a leadoff double to Will Clark, and then an infield hit to Matt Williams. And the count is now 2 balls and 1 strike on Barry Bonds. Will Clark is the runner at 3rd. He has 3 hits and as many at bats today. For those of you just joining us, he's 7 for his last 8. And Matt Williams is at 1st. He had 3 hits last night. He's 2 for 3 today. The big bats in the Giant batting order have been doing the job in this series. On Thursday night, they capitalized on some shoddy fielding by the Dodgers to win game 1 of this series. And even though Karros wasn't charged with an error on the ball hit by Williams, a play could have been made.
On this 2-1 pitch, Hershiser reaching back a little bit and getting 6 inches on his fastball.
Bonds, with 2 3-run homers last night, was trying to hit another one with that cut. Now the 2-2 pitch popped up. Wallach takes charge. 1 out. For the audience just joining us, the Giants have had many opportunities to add to their 2-run total, particularly in the third when they loaded the bases with nobody out. And Hershiser got out of the inning thanks to some sterling defense behind him by second baseman Jody Reed. San Francisco left 6 men on in the first 3 innings.
And also in that third inning, Dave Martinez with the bases loaded and nobody out, just missing a double about 4 inches foul down the left field line. Had that double been fair, and that clears the bases, and the Giants would have been up 5-1. Martinez made an out, and then Royce Clayton popped to Jody Reed on a fine play, and a better play as Jody Reed into the inning on a force out.
So Martinez has another chance. He singled his first time up, then had the pop up in the third. San Francisco today is only 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Keeping you up to date with the ball game in Atlanta. The Rockies have 1 man on with 1 out in the top of the 6th. Atlanta leads 6-1. Terry Pendleton has driven in half of the Braves' runs today. He was kidded before the game last night by Fred McGriff. McGriff says, I've been carrying the load. It's time for you to go out and do something. And Pendleton did. Drove in 5 last night. And 3 today for the MVP in 1991 in the National League. Here it's 2-2 in the 5th. First and third and 1 out for San Francisco. The 1-0 pitch to Martinez. Fastball right down the middle for strike 1. To Offerman for 1. Back to first. Not in time. Offerman took his time getting rid of the throw, and it's a costly play as Clark is in from third to make it 3-2 San Francisco.
And you will rarely see Orel Hershiser that demonstrative after a play. Orel Hershiser throws the ball immediately to the second base bag. No one was there. Offerman is now. He led him perfectly, but that extra step allows Martinez to drive in the go-ahead run as Will Clark scores. I think what Offerman was doing at second base, he was trying to avoid Matt Williams' slide. We saw Steve Scarsoni try to do that earlier. There with Martinez running on the play, Royce Clayton tries to bunt. We have seen some very unusual plays in this game. Matt Williams tried to bunt earlier with a runner on at first base and 2 outs. We have seen sacrifices. We've seen a blown squeeze play by Orel Hershiser and Raul Mondesi. Very unusual strategy and play in this game so far.
Offerman took too many steps after fielding the throw from Hershiser, so Martinez, safe on the fielder's choice, has his 25th RBI of the year, and the Giants are back on top. No errors posted in this ballgame for Los Angeles, but this is still another example of how their shoddy fielding hurts them.
Yeah, usually too many steps, the ball would go over, but the Giants still batting.
And Hershiser continues. He has now thrown 92 pitches on this afternoon, with the temperature approaching 90 degrees in Los Angeles. Check swing. It sounded like a foul tip, and that's what Piazza was saying. You could hear it in our effects mic down below, but home plate umpire Jerry Crawford didn't think so.
This is close to a strike, probably a little outside. The check swing, he didn't go, but Piazza claiming that the ball hit the bat. And it did sound like it hit something.
Sure did in our headsets. And now Martinez is back to first.
I'll tell you, Orel Hershiser absolutely livid when Offerman failed to make that double play.
As we said at the top of the telecast, he's one of the few Dodgers who has talked openly about his desire to exact revenge for the Giants defeating the Dodgers in the final weekend of 1991 to eliminate them and give the division crown to Atlanta. Most of the Los Angeles players have tried to downplay that angle. Tommy Lasorda has as well. He says you should want to beat everybody you play. That includes the Giants. Of course, Tommy's attitude somewhat tempered by his affection for Dusty Baker, who was a standout player for him for so many years. Low and away. The count is full, and with 2 outs, Martinez will be running from first with the pitch. Willie McGee, Matt Williams, and the rest of the Giants well aware of what is happening in Atlanta. The Braves seemingly comfortably ahead with Maddox on the mound, and a 6-1 lead now in the bottom of the 6th. Here it's 3-2 San Francisco. In the top of the 5th. Martinez runs on the 3-2, and Clayton looked at ball 4 inside. That is the 4th walk issued by Hershiser, one of those an intentional walk.
Number 52, catcher Jeff Reed.
The National League Championship Series gets underway Wednesday night, 8:12 the first pitch, 8 o'clock the airtime here on CBS. With game 1 at Philadelphia as the Phillies await the champion of the National League West. The title still very much up for grabs, with the Braves and the Giants in a flat-footed tie for first entering today's action, both at 102 wins and 58 losses. First and second with 2 outs for the catcher Jeff Reed, who walked in the second and bounced out ending the 3rd. It was the inning in which the Giants left the bases loaded. Reed made the final out. Slow moving ball game here this afternoon. We're at the 2-hour mark, only at the top of the 5th. Martinez the runner at second, and Clayton at first. 1-1 to Reed in the dirt. It gets away from Piazza, and the runners move up.
Excellent base running on the part of Martinez. If you don't break immediately on a ball like this, it is too late. But the minute the ball hits the dirt, caroming off the left arm of Piazza, Martinez took off. Fine base running by Dave Martinez.
And a wild pitch charged to Hershiser, his first of the ball game. So Martinez is at third now, and Royce Clayton is at second, so a hit by Reed would likely score 2 runs. The 2-1 pitch just missed.
Trevor Wilson is warming for the Giants. John Patterson is on deck, and that's why Tommy Lasorda is not thinking of walking Jeff Reed. There's Trevor Wilson. He won the game the next to the last day of the season in 1991 when the Atlanta Braves clinched it. Trevor beating the Los Angeles Dodgers at Candlestick.
The 3-1 pitch. Well hit, left center field. Long run for Butler. And for Mondesi, and Mondesi made a terrific running catch.
Ball tailing back to Mondesi. Fine play by the Dodger left fielder. Wow.
The Giants get 1 to take the lead in the 5th.
Hot Pockets, filled with delicious pepperoni pizza, chicken and cheddar, or ham and cheese in a crispy pocket.
When it's late at night and you want a tasty bite, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
The hot meal in a pocket.
What are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
Try Lean Pockets, too.
I'm getting older, so I have to push myself just a little bit harder.
Introducing a new, hard-working Power Stick. Now with more odor fighters per stroke than ever.
Hey, that's better for me and everybody else.
New Power Stick from Fabergé, the most powerful Power Stick ever.
What's new from Xerox? Xerox Extreme 450 Antifreeze and a new 4-year guarantee. If your kid's just starting college, it's guaranteed till he graduates. We've taken our promise to extremes. For the next 4 years or the next 50,000 miles, we guarantee the temperature never drops below Xerox. It's protection you never had from antifreeze before. Get new Xerox Extreme 450. And for the next 4 years, the next 50,000 miles, we guarantee the temperature never drops below Xerox.
Owens Corning presents an exciting debut, Pink Plus, a new insulation that's silky to the touch. The reason? Pink Plus is our famous pink fiberglass insulation wrapped in smooth pink poly, which also makes it extra easy to install. So get in touch with a premier insulation. For the Pink Plus dealer nearest you, call 1-800-GET-PINK.
Sunday, the Packers suffered another heartbreaking loss. Well, get over it, because this Sunday on CBS, they face Emmitt Smith and the back-in-the-saddle Cowboys. I'm a big fan.
The Giants have come oh so close to breaking this game open, and this is one of the big reasons that it's still a one-run ball game. Fine play by Raul Mondesi, the left fielder, tracking down the ball hit by Jeff Reed.
So halfway through the ball game, it's still just 3-2 San Francisco. They've left 8 men on base through 5 innings, 6 of those left in scoring position. If you're a Giant fan, you have to be a little bit uneasy about the way this is going.
Yeah, but particularly that third inning with the bases loaded and nobody out, and you end up empty.
Orel Hershiser, the batter. Orel popped out against the starter Hickerson after a long at bat in the second. That's in the air to center. Lewis fighting the sun, makes the catch. 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. The Giants lead 3-2.
And another key play in this game with runners at first and third. The last time Hershiser was up, a squeeze play that didn't work. Mondesi broke off a third. Hershiser, we assume, missed the sign because he didn't offer it the ball. And the trail runner, Jody Reed, was the out call. But the big thing is the Dodgers didn't get the plate to run, and we found it very unusual that Tommy Lasorda would resort to the squeeze with Hershiser batting .366 entering today's game.
Red Butler is singled and doubled, and he scored the second Los Angeles run in the third. Run at the time tied the game at 2. Jeff Brantley has pitched well since coming on for Brian Hickerson, who left after 1 batter in the third. It was Butler was the last man to face Hickerson in the third. He doubled, and then Hickerson left with what appeared to be an aggravation of the rib injury suffered earlier in the week. He was hit by a line drive in his last start. 1-1 on Butler. Jose Offerman is on deck. Brantley has pitched 2 1/3 innings now, and has only given up 1 hit. There is action in the San Francisco bullpen. Right-hander Dave Burba has begun to throw. Another of the versatile Giant pitchers who's been used in a number of different roles this year. Popped up in shallow left. Bonds was playing him perfectly. 2 away.
Before Thursday night's game, Brett Butler got an arrangement of balloons and flowers in the clubhouse. He thought, well, my wife has been out of town for about 10 days. Wasn't that nice for her to send me a bunch of balloons? He opens the card, and the card is from Tammy Bedrosian, the wife of Steve Bedrosian, the relief pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, wishing Brett and all the Dodgers good luck against the Giants.
Does Steve know about this?
I think so. He does now.
Tammy Bedrosian is happy about the double by Fred McGriff that has scored Jeff Blauser in the 6th inning for Atlanta. So the Braves are off and running toward a victory, it would appear. Leading 7-1 in the 6th. And Dusty Baker is well aware of what is going on at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. On the subject of Dusty Baker, he is certainly a leading candidate for Manager of the Year honors in the National League. And he's one of 5 rookie managers who have won 100 in their first season.
Most famous, of course, Ralph Houck with the '61 Yankees. That was the year. Those of you who do not follow baseball, that Roger Maris hit 61 and 61.
Hauser won 103 games in 1980 with the Yankees, lost in the ALCS, and was fired. Who would do something like that? I'll give you time to think about it.
Let's see.
2-2. I don't think you'll come up with it. Look out on Offerman against Jeff Brantley. Bounce to short. Plate throws him out. 1-2-3 go the Dodgers, and we'll return to Dodger Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
You know the zip code for Beverly Hills. You've been to a place off Melrose Avenue.
You know, you're a little overdressed for Compton.
October 27th.
So are you, Bubba. Yeah, but I look good.
Head south with LA's wildest detective team. South of Sunset. Series premiere Wednesday, October 27th.
Got the flu? Laughter's the best medicine, and TV Guide says this is one of our favorites.
Next time you put something in my ear, I expect dinner and a movie.
Dave's World, Monday. This is CBS.
It began in 1934. In the years since, a tradition has been built. Stars have been born. Championships won. Pride has been established and greatness achieved. Detroit Lions football, the 60th anniversary season. Reserve your place in history.
Down the field and gain a Lion victory.
Checkbook out of balance. Watch Money Wise Sunday at 10:30.
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Game 3 of a 4-game series. The Giants have won the first 2. They've won 13 of their last 15, and they lead this one 3-2 as we head to the 6th. Pitcher Jeff Brantley scheduled to lead off, and he will bat for himself as he has breezed through 3 innings. Dusty Baker is in no hurry to make a pitching change. Oral Hershiser has gone all the way. We do have confirmation from the Giants public relations staff that it was an aggravation of the rib injury that caused Hickerson to leave. Brantley batted in the 4th inning and bounced to short.
One thing in favor of allowing Brantley to hit here in the 6th inning, he has started 12 games this year. You're really working with a durable pitcher. And also Brantley, a pretty good hitter. I mean, he was the designated hitter. He played outfield down at Mississippi State when Will Clark and Rafael Palmeiro were down there. So Brantley can handle a bat also. He just hasn't done it a lot recently.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Brantley. A lot of damage done to the right toe of Oral Hershiser's shoe with all that digging as he drives off the mound.
Yeah, you can see the reinforcement of the right shoe of Hershiser. That is normal for pitchers because of that. See the reinforcement curved around the toes right there. That is the foot off of which Oral drives.
And he drove his way to a strikeout of Hickerson, of Brantley rather. Back we go to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium for a look at the double by Fred McGriff in the 6th inning. Down the left field line that knocked in Jeff Blauser to make it 7-1 in favor of the Braves. They are out now in the 6th, and they've gone to the 7th inning with Atlanta leading by 6. Strikeout for Hershiser, his 4th. Giants lead here 3-2. 1 out into the 6th inning. Darren Lewis is the batter. He's 1 for 3, an infield hit for an RBI in the 2nd. Slashing swing and a miss at the breaking ball, 0-2 on the man they call D. Lou in the Giant clubhouse. Two balls, rather 1 ball and 2 strikes. He is certainly a candidate for a Gold Glove as Lewis. You can go around almost the entire Giant team and say that. Robbie Thompson, the candidate at 2nd. Matt Williams at 3rd. Kurt Manwaring behind the plate. Bonds, of course, an outstanding left fielder. No play for Karros. It didn't get high enough in the air for Eric to run it down.
Will Clark at first base. Dusty Baker, a 2-time Gold Glove winner in his playing days.
And he is the last non-pitcher to win a Gold Glove for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dusty won one in 1981 while a member of the Dodgers, and they haven't had a position player win a Gold Glove since. Popped up in shallow right for Jody Reed. 2 down.
Earlier we talked about the card and arrangement, the balloon arrangement that Tammy Bedrosian, the wife of Atlanta Braves reliever Steve Bedrosian, sent to Brett Butler, an ex-teammate of his with the Giants, as a matter of fact. Go get him, Brett. Go Dodger blue. Now all of a sudden the Braves love Dodger blue. Tammy Bedrosian and the Braves' wives.
Steve Scarsoni has had a tough day against Hershiser. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. The Giants lead 3-2 in the 6th inning. Colorado has been retired without scoring in the top of the 7th. They're in the bottom of the 7th now. 7-1 Atlanta. 2-0 on Scarsoni. He and Mike Benjamin have been dividing time at second base in the absence of Robbie Thompson. Benjamin, the better fielder, and when there's a ground ball pitcher on the mound like Bill Swift, ordinarily he'll see action at second base. Chopped foul toward the Giant dugout.
Matter of fact, it might be a good move that after Scarsoni bats here in the 6th inning to make the move for defense and go ahead and put Benjamin in the game in a 1-run ball game. Meanwhile, in the Dodger bullpen, Steve Wilson is warming.
Hershiser is over 100 pitches. That's chopped down to 3rd. Wallach has to hurry, and he just did get Scarsoni. The Giants go in order. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 San Francisco.
Imagine a cold medication so effective, 1 tablet keeps symptoms from coming back a full 24 hours. Introducing Effidac 24, the first cold tablet for consistent 24-hour relief. Look, Sudafed drops off after 6 hours, Tavist after 12. So your symptoms keep coming back. But just 1 Effidac gives consistent relief for 24 hours. So your symptoms don't come back. New 24-hour Effidac keeps cold symptoms from coming back.
Americans have always had a love affair with their cars.
Do you love? Who do you love? Yeah, who do you love?
And when it comes to plugs and filters, we guarantee to keep that spark going for a long, long time.
Do you love? Yeah, who do you love?
You're deep in REM sleep, dreaming the big dreams. Because as Freud said, all men are great in their dreams. Suddenly you don't feel so great anymore. You'll do the big things later. You hit the snooze bar, you hit the snooze bar, you hit the snooze bar, you hit the shower. You start soaping up with Ghost. Ghost is rocket fuel for the senses. Ghost is a big bold blast off that turns you back into a human dynamo. Ghost, the eye-opener.
Department stores may never be the same now that kids are discovering the Rookie League collection. It's Major League Kids clothes, built to stand up to the way kids play. The Rookie League collection, now playing at a department store near you.
A message from Major League Baseball.
Tomorrow is an NFL doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. And the Game 2 matchups at 4 Eastern Time. The Philadelphia Eagles put their unbeaten 3-0 record on the line against Boomer Esiason and the New York Jets, who are 2-1. It all starts tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today. It's all you need to know with Greg and Terry. Busy couple of days for Mr. Gumbel. He'll have to hustle back from Atlanta for the NFL Today tomorrow with Terry Bradshaw. I'm interested to hear Terry's plan to eliminate field goals, which have been so much a part of this young NFL season. Mike Piazza begins the 6th. The Dodgers trailing the Giants 3-2. Piazza drove in the second run with a single to center in the 3rd. The only hit Brantley has given up in his 3 innings of relief.
Mike Piazza, a 62nd round draft choice. Talk about a guy who has worked for it. He had a batting cage installed behind his house when he was 11 years old. He and his dad used to throw to him all the time. Matter of fact, his dad in the ballpark last night, we ran into him on the way to Tommy's office.
Piazza rips one just out of the reach of Clayton. And Bonds had to hustle over to cut it off. That ball was hit so sharply, but on this fast outfield, it nearly scooted to the warning track. Piazza is 2 for 3. The Dodgers have the lead man on and the tying run at first with nobody out in the 6th.
Number 23, first baseman, Eric.
Baseball players say, well, a big man hit it, and a big man hit this one, and that is one reason that it almost gets to the fence before it runs into Barry Bonds.
Of course, the irony of what you were talking about, Mike Piazza's dad, Vince, who is here today, was part of the group that tried to buy the Giants last year and move them to the Tampa Bay area.
Yep.
That bid was rejected, reportedly because 2 of the partners in that ownership group failed a background security check, and as a result, Vince Piazza filed a discrimination suit against Major League Baseball. How bleak things looked a year ago for the baseball fans in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, that is. Karros to center. Lewis the catch for the first out of the inning. It looked like their team was leaving. Now they're still in San Francisco and contending for the division title.
I think, Sean, also that's one of the reasons for the intense interest in the Bay Area right now. Drawing 2,600,000 people this year. That is a San Francisco record. And in years past, I can never think of the interest in the Bay Area in the Giants as much as has been exhibited this year.
They drew more than 1 million fans more this year than they did last year. Much of the credit must go to that man, Peter McGowan, who heads up the ownership group that currently owns the Giants. Made some changes to make Candlestick a more pleasant place. spent the money to go get Barry Bonds, who obviously is a big part of the increase in attendance.
And I think also you have something, you almost lose it, so it would be natural that you appreciate it more when it stays.
Well, the rout is on now in Atlanta, and the pitcher Greg Maddux got into the act with an RBI single to make it 8-1 Atlanta in the bottom of the 7th. Here it's 3-2 San Francisco in the bottom of the 6th. The runner goes. Piazza is a dead duck. He doesn't even bother sliding. Snyder swung and missed, and Piazza was out by a mile.
1-0 count, and what a manager does is try to pick a pitch on which a hitter can put the ball in play on the ground. That's what Tommy Lasorda did, and Corey Snyder swings through it. Corey, not exactly the type of guy with whom you would want to hit and run because of his strikeout records. He has struck out 146 times this year. So the pitcher was right, but perhaps not the hitter.
Popped up, shallow right. Scarsoni makes room for Martinez, and that ends the inning. The Giants take the lead into the 7th. It's 3-2 San Francisco.
All right, Chief. Open wide. Come on. Look, Daddy loves corn pops. See? And here he comes. Such a good boy.
The problem with a cereal that tastes like popcorn, only sweeter, is that it disappears like popcorn, only faster.
Y'all finished? Good boy.
He may want seconds.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. It's hard to stop when it's Pops.
Oh, that was wonderful.
I have to see it.
If a movie got great reviews, you'd go see it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely fantastic.
If everyone kept talking about a book, you'd probably read it.
It was brilliant.
And if Automobile Magazine called this Toyota Camry the best car built in America, you'd give it a test drive, right? The 1993 Toyota Camry. Everything you've heard is true.
In the year 2032, in a peaceful world, two mortal enemies from another time will be unleashed.
I've been dreaming about killing you for 40 years. Keep dreaming.
Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Demolition Man. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 8th.
Where to find the Mountain Man. A mountain man can often be found on the trail of adventure, in search of remote watering holes, or weathering harsh climates. Most often, however, you'll find the Mountain Man wherever you find smooth bush beer or easy drinking Busch Light. So, head for the mountains and find yourself in the wide, open world of the Mountain Man.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light.
On to the 7th here at Dodger Stadium. The San Francisco Giants tied for first in the National League West with this game and the final game of the regular season tomorrow remaining. They're well aware that the Braves are on their way to a win this afternoon at Fulton County Stadium. They're trying to build on a 3-2 lead on the Giants as they come up in the 7th. And the lead is now 10-1 for Atlanta. Jeff Blauser, a 2-run double. The drive in Greg Maddux and Otis Nixon. 10-1 Braves throttling Colorado. Will Clark 3 for 3 after his 4 for 5 last night. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Giants. 15 for their last 20. That's Clark, Williams, and Bonds. Hershiser has retired 4 in a row. Tough to tell where that pitch missed. Hershiser has surrendered 7 hits. He has walked 4. One of them an intentional walk. He has 4 strikeouts. Little looper, and Clark has his 4th hit of the ball game. Wide turned around first before Will Clark put the brakes on. So 4 hits last night in 5 at-bats, and 4 for 4 today for Will Clark. We talked a lot today about pressure. Yesterday, Tim McCarver asked Matt Williams, is this fun?
Damn right it is. I know, let's see, how many teams do we have in the big leagues? We've got, well, 28 teams. I know 24 of them. There are 23 of them that would like to be where we're at right now. So, well, that's the way I look at it. It's just fun. Sometimes you don't get a chance to go to the playoffs as a player, but sometimes you don't even get a chance to have the chance to go to the playoffs and be in this situation. So you have to have fun with this. I mean, pressure is part of the game. Competition is why we play. So you take those two and put them together, and I think it's a lot of fun.
A lot of ex-players would look back on pressure situations and consider them fun later, but it's not often that you hear a player express it in a fun sort of way like Matt just did.
One-0 to Williams. Deep drive, left center field. Butler drifting back to the warning track, to the wall. He and Mondesi come together, and Mondesi took it away from him. Clark tags and moves into second. Butler lecturing Mondesi. Brett was under it and had it all the way, and all of a sudden Mondesi, ordinarily a center fielder, we should point out, but playing left because of the presence of Butler, he came racing into the picture and ripped it away.
Here's Butler honing in on it. And now Mondesi takes it out of his glove, and Will Clark taking a chance. Evidently, Will had conceded the fact that this ball was not going out of the ballpark, and he takes second, and you wonder whether that's a shrewd move or not with Bonds coming up, because now he's going to be walked.
Intentionally walked for the 2nd time today, and walked overall for the 3rd time today.
Of course, if you've got a chance to take an extra base, you've got to go ahead and take it. You can't think of the guy hitting behind you.
And Butler is still expressing his displeasure with Mondesi. Joe Ferguson, one of Tommy Lasorda's coaches, alongside the Dean of Major League Managers. Lasorda in his 17th year. Only Don Shula has a longer tenure with his current team in professional sports in this country.
John, in the 1964 series, Johnny Keane, the manager of the Cardinals, went out in Game 7 in the 9th inning. And the writers after the game, he didn't take Bob Gibson out. The writers asked Keane why he didn't. He said, I owed it to his heart. I think Tommy Lasorda right now owes it to Hershiser's heart to leave him in the ball game.
He'll work next to Dave Martinez. With Clark at second, Bonds at first, and 1 out. 3-2 San Francisco in the 7th. Martinez is 1 for 3, a single his first time up. He picked up an RBI when he reached on the fielder's choice in the 5th. That was when Offerman took a couple of extra steps as the pivot man. Didn't get the throw to first in time to double up Martinez. That is pitch number 121 of this warm afternoon from Orel Hershiser, a ball way outside.
Hershiser scheduled up 4th in the bottom of the 7th. If he makes it through this half inning, and I think Tommy Lasorda is going to do everything in his power to see that he does.
Martinez at the plate. Royce Clayton is on deck. Fouled out of play and left. Atlanta is out in the bottom of the 7th, having added to their lead. It's 10-1 Braves in the top of the 8th. The Rockies coming up. That will be win number 103 of the season for Atlanta. The Giants trying to win their 103rd here at Dodger Stadium. 2 balls and a strike. Because there are many who believe that a fitting ending to this dramatic battle between these two teams would be the 1-game playoff head-to-head Monday night at San Francisco.
Bill Swift against John Smoltz, if that develops. Of course, the Philadelphia Phillies are hoping that develops because it's not.
Martinez with a big base hit into right center. It'll score at least 1. Bonds is being waved in. Reed with the relay to the plate, and he is safe. 2 runs in for San Francisco, and the lead is 5-2. A 2-run double for Dave Martinez. Subbing for the injured Willie McGee. Martinez has driven in 3 runs today.
The Phillies may get their wish. The Phillies want either the Giants or the Atlanta Braves to be dog-tired when they play them next Wednesday night. Dave Martinez with his 2nd hit of the game. RBI's number 3. Make that 2 and 3. And look at Will Clark. What a game he's played.
Hershiser departs, having thrown 124 pitches. Kip Gross will be the new pitcher.
There's no doubt about what's in Fidel Castro's health plan. Get AIDS in Cuba and you're shipped off to a sanatorium. Some call it a prison. Does it work? 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Monday, catch Sylvester Stallone on Late Show with David Letterman.
You know, I've been a little busy lately. Do the Mets still have a chance?
Monday on CBS.
Fred's my AT&T sales rep.
The country gives me the creeps, but I came out here to tell Jan about AT&T's Maximum Advantage.
Everything about it is simple, except running it.
Maximum Advantage doesn't work for you. You're automatically enrolled. You get AT&T's best service at our lowest price guaranteed. We'll look at your calling patterns quarterly and make new recommendations. Jan, with our international fax and calling plans for our 800 service, you could be hosting the whole world that you're in.
Hi.
We're the Raskins. Ah, welcome.
Fred really knows my business. I'm sure I could get him up here full time.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets!
Hot Pockets, filled with pepperoni pizza or ham and cheese in a crispy pocket.
What are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets!
Try Lean Pockets, too.
I'm getting older, so I have to push myself just a little bit harder.
Introducing a new, hard-working Power Stick. Now with more odor fighters per stroke than ever.
Hey, that's better for me and everybody else.
New Power Stick from Fabergé, the most powerful Power Stick ever.
Hold on. I don't just overnight the package.
Yeah, sure. Overnight it. Might as well overnight it.
Overnight this.
Overnight the overnight.
Overnight it. Overnight.
Sometimes overnight is overkill. So kick the habit with Priority Mail from the Postal Service. It's not overnight, but it's fast delivery, special handling, and 2 pounds is only $2.90.
Morning. Thanks.
When overnight is overdoing it, remember, we deliver for you. Call and we'll start today.
Again, we remind you that the postseason begins Tuesday night with Game 1 of the American League Championship Series at 8 Eastern Time from Chicago as the White Sox host Paul Molitor and the Blue Jays. Game 2 of the ALCS is Wednesday afternoon at 3 Eastern Time. And then the National League Championship Series gets underway at Philadelphia Wednesday night at 8 Eastern Time. The Phillies will host either the Braves or the Giants. Dave Martinez, a big part of the story today. He's 2 for 4. He's driven in 3 runs. Meanwhile, Will Clark is 4 for 4 and has scored twice. The trio of Clark, Williams, and Bonds today, a combined 6 for 9. They went 10 for 13 last night. Picked off second is Martinez. Kip Gross just into the ball game before delivering his first pitch to the plate. Picks Martinez off second. And the call will bring an argument from Dusty Baker with second base umpire Tom Hallion.
Dave Martinez is saying that Jody Reed tagged him high, but that play shouldn't be that close. You can't wander off that far to make it close. It surprised everybody. Before Gross's first pitch to the plate, he throws to second, and in a game like this, I think umpires would be much more lenient than during the regular season in hearing the arguments of Dusty Baker. Can't tell anything from there, but we should be able to from this angle. He looks safe to me, but still it shouldn't be that close. Dave Martinez, not a fast runner. He has only 6 stolen bases on the year. Nifty play by the Dodgers, however.
Yes, indeed. They've made a couple. They've also had a few wobbles in the field that have been costly. Finally, Gross throws a pitch. It's been an eventful couple of moments for him. He picks a guy off second without throwing a pitch. Then his first pitch goes to the backstop.
What he ought to do is just think of home plate like he did second base. He threw a strike to second and a ball to home.
Now Royce Clayton with a fly ball to deep center. Still on the run is Butler, and he made the catch just in front of the warning track. The Giants get 2 in the 7th on the double by Martinez. They lead 5-2 at the stretch.
Toyota proudly presents All Around Champions. The most impressive thing about Mark Grace is not his powerful swing or golden glove, but his immense smile. When he devotes his time to hospital-bound youngsters who need a lift, there's no question as to why he's become known as Amazing Grace. Toyota salutes all-around champion Mark Grace by contributing $1,000 to the Children's Memorial Hospital of Chicago.
Why do people really like Toyota Paseo? Take this home lie detector test. I like Paseo because A, it's practical, has a driver's side airbag, or B, women dig it. A, it has 100 horsepower performance, or B, women dig it. A, Paseo starts under $11,800, or B, women dig it. Paseo, a very practical car from Toyota.
I know if you really care about somebody, nothing else should matter. But it does.
Sometimes getting close to him is all I think about.
I expect her to sweat if she's running a marathon, but not when we're close to each other.
Well, you just can't get close to a guy if he smells.
Get a little closer with Arid, the anti-odor antiperspirant. New improved formula works harder to help keep you extra, extra dry.
I trust Arid.
What is Newton? Newton is digital. Newton is personal. Newton is magic. Newton is as powerful as a computer. Newton is as simple as a piece of paper. Newton is intelligent. Newton learns about you, understands you. Newton is news. Newton can receive a page. It sends faxes, and soon electronic mail. Newton lets you communicate with the whole world, and if there's anything this world could use, it is more communication.
Two big runs in the 7th for San Francisco. They have made the situation a bit more comfortable for the Giants as the Dodgers come up in the home half of the 7th. Tim Wallach leads off. He is singled and been hit by a pitch. Colorado did not score in the top of the 8th. In the bottom of the 8th, Atlanta still leads Colorado 10-1. A big part of the story today, the pitching of Jeff Brantley. He came on when Hickerson had to leave due to injury, and he has pitched 4 shutout innings, having allowed only 2 hits. A rocket to left and a base hit. So Wallach is 2 for 2. It's been a disappointing year for Tim, and unless he has a big surge today and tomorrow, he is going to finish under 225 in batting average for the 3rd consecutive year. The Dodgers are still obligated to Wallach for 1 more year of his contract at $3 million. Now Mondesi, who's 0 for 2.
That is the 5th time in 7 innings that the Dodgers have had their leadoff batter aboard, and they've been only able to plate 2 runs.
Dusty Baker to the mound, and he'll make the pitching change. Dave Burba will be the new pitcher. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is a Goodyear AquaTread, and this is a gallon of water. AquaTread's deep groove design channels water away. At highway speeds, it moves a gallon of water every second for outstanding wet traction. AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
I'm getting older, so I have to push myself just a little bit harder.
Introducing a new, hard-working Power Stick. Now with more odor fighters per stroke than ever.
Hey, that's better for me and everybody else.
New Power Stick from Fabergé, the most powerful Power Stick ever.
When I hit 100,000 miles, I was driving home from a bat cave where I'd just seen 6 million bats.
I'd say it would be,
When I hit 200,000 miles, I was on my way to a 100th birthday party.
actually,
Okay, it happened right where the fence starts on the Lamont Bridge.
I don't remember the specific place I was at.
Where were you when your Toyota truck hit 100, 200, 300,000 miles or more? Tell us about it.
I never started really paying attention to mileage till it reached about 400,000.
A 40-year-old woman who loves a kid cereal. Just doesn't add up.
Brave adults challenge the notion that Kellogg's Frosted Flakes are just for kids.
I face 5 alarmers, and I can't face my 5-year-old at breakfast.
Proving again that even the most courageous can't resist that sweet crunch in cold milk.
I love them, but I can't tell you why.
The secret's out. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
What's IBM doing for customers these days? Ask Tower Records.
The music in our stores has to match our customers' tastes. IBM checkout systems help make that possible.
Ask Hertz.
To be #1, you have to know what customers want. An IBM system tracks that for us nationwide.
Ask Domino's Pizza.
Our IBM system doesn't make your pizza, but it makes sure we always have the toppings you want on it.
You want happier customers? Talk to us. There's never been a better time to do business with IBM.
Well, a sudden turn of events here at Dodger Stadium. Dave Burba made his way onto the field, was in medium range right field. Then the umpires signaled that Dusty Baker didn't want Burba. He wanted the lefty, Kevin Rogers. So Burba returns to the bullpen, and Rogers takes his spot at center stage.
Remember that movie Alibaba and the 40 Thieves when there was open sesame? Well, sesame opened for the wrong pitcher then, the right-hander, not the left-hander. Kevin Rogers, his 64th appearance. He's 2-2 on the year, a hard-throwing left-hander. And it's unusual that Dusty Baker didn't use Dave Burba with the right-handed hitting Mondesi up.
And a right-handed hitter, Jody Reed, on deck. 2 right-handed hitters in a row scheduled up for the Dodgers. But it is the lefty to pitch to the right-handed hitting Mondesi, who's 0 for 2 today. Rogers, the 3rd pitcher of the ball game for San Francisco. Greeted by a fly ball to center. Room for Lewis. And that's the first out of the bottom of the 7th. The Giants lead 5-2. They're out hitting the Dodgers 9-8. This is one list that the Giants hope to avoid. Teams that have squandered a 10-game lead and failed to make it to the postseason since 1900. There have been a lot of parallels drawn between this race in the National League West this year and the 1978 race in the American League East involving the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Everybody thought the Red Sox were out of it in '78, but they won their last 6 games to tie the Yankees. And then, of course, the infamous Bucky Dent home run. Infamous as far as the Beantowners were concerned, not Yankee fans.
I knew what you meant.
That's why I used the word infamous.
That's true. As a native New Englander, we're well acquainted. It was on this date in 1978 that Bucky Dent hit that little pop-up that barely scraped the backside of the wall as it nestled into the screen.
That's what I love about our profession, objectivity.
Yeah, that is totally objective. Jody Reed, the batter.
You wait 15 years after that, the statute of limitations has been used up. You deserve to be subjective now.
Yes, indeed.
After going through that.
Well, of course, back in '78, it was the Red Sox who had a huge lead over the Yankees of 14 games. Not only did the Yankees come storming back as the Braves did this year from a big deficit, but they took the lead comfortably ahead of the Red Sox, it appeared, before the Red Sox made that late season surge that Tim mentioned to force the playoff game. And that's what the Giants, at the very least, are trying to do, if not win it outright before the playoff game. Another interesting parallel between the two franchises. Of course, Mike Torres was on the mound for the Red Sox and gave up the home run to Bucky Dent. Ralph Branca gave up the famous or infamous home run to Bobby Thompson. Torres and Branca attend the same church in Westchester County, New York, and it's called Our Lady of Sorrows.
Isn't that remarkable? Well, the Giants just deserve all the credit in the world. I mean, there are a lot of teams that would just fold up their tent and go home after they lost 8 in a row. They fall 4 behind the Braves, and the Braves are playing as though they're not going to lose another game for the rest of the year. They've added McGriff. They are a real juggernaut. And since losing 8 in a row, Dusty Baker and his crew, they have won 13 out of 15 and lead in this game 5-2.
The 2-2 to Reed. Chopped down to third. Williams double pumped. And Scarsoni got wiped out in a great play by Clark to come off the bag and prevent that one from heading toward the dugout. The catcher Reed had hustled down the line in foul ground and probably would have prevented it from going in the dugout, but Clark made sure it didn't happen.
Well, the double clutch by Matt Williams, you could see it right there. That allows the base runner, Tim Wallach, to get on top of Steve Scarsoni. I mean, what else can Will Clark do in this game, you might be asking yourself. He's 4 for 4. He took second base on that deep fly ball to left center, and he just made a play like that. He has just played a remarkable ball game.
So Reed is safe on the fielder's choice with 2 outs in the 7th. 5-2 San Francisco. Here's Mike Sharperson batting for the pitcher Gross. Sharperson, a .258 hitter this year. He was the Dodgers' lone representative in the All-Star game in 1992. This year he has more or less returned to his role as a bench player. He's only appearing in his 73rd game. Rogers, a native of Cleveland, Mississippi. Missed, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Dusty Baker and Dick Pohl, the pitching coach, became quite well acquainted with Rogers and his abilities in the Arizona Fall League last year when Baker managed the team for which Rogers pitched, his first managing experience. And Dick Pohl was the pitching coach. That's how Pohl and Baker got together on this job.
Yeah, Dick Pohl came as a representative of the Boston Red Sox organization. And after meeting Dick, he was certainly impressed by the way he handled pitchers. He did some checking on his reputation. He found out it was excellent, asked him to be his pitching coach, and that's how they got together. Boy, have they been a good tandem, too.
They sure have. Dick Pohl deserves a lot of the credit for the surprising success of the Giants staff this year. And the Giants have already rehired all of the coaching staff for next year, which is an excellent move on the part of the front office. The 3-1 pitch bounced down to third. Williams has another chance. He goes to Scarsoni to force Reed and end the inning. On to the 8th. The Giants 5 and the Dodgers 2.
Do you want to fly where there are no runways? Do you want to swing where no one has swung before? Or do you want to surf where there is no ocean? And get yourself a Toyota 4Runner, because where you're headed, you don't want to be driving anything less.
Everybody hates to eat and run, rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And when all that running round catches up with you at last, get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster or more effective than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
You're looking at tinea pedis, commonly known as athlete's foot. But what's not commonly known is many types of fungus cause it. And to cure it all, you've got to kill it all. But today, there's a full prescription-strength medicine, the one most recommended by doctors, Lotrimin AF. The broad-spectrum power of Lotrimin AF doesn't just get some athlete's foot fungus, it kills it all. Lotrimin AF, the cure that gets it all.
If you can dream
the Rebel can do it. Now EOS Rebel from Canon has more power over time, space, and light to create images, not just snapshots.
Image is everything.
EOS Rebel and Rebel S from Canon, so advanced it's simple.
I'm Bob Schieffer. Tailhook may sink the Navy's top admiral, and Moscow police battle on the streets with Yeltsin's foes. On tonight's CBS Evening News.
In Atlanta, the Braves are on their way to victory over Colorado, so the Giants will need to win this one to keep pace with the Atlanta Braves and be tied going into tomorrow's final games of the regular season. Couldn't that be interesting? Atlanta could be trying to complete a sweep of the season series with Colorado, winning every game against them. That has never happened for a National League team against an expansion team. And the Giants would be trying to complete a 4-game sweep of Los Angeles here at Dodger Stadium, something they've never done before.
The only time that the Giants have swept the Dodgers, as a matter of fact, was at Candlestick in June of 1975. That was for a 4-game series.
But of course, still work to be done from the San Francisco standpoint, with 2 innings left. And Steve Wilson is the new pitcher, third of the afternoon for Los Angeles. Kip Gross credited with 2/3 of an inning, even though he faced only 1 batter. He also picked a runner off base. John Patterson is pinch hitting for the catcher Jeff Reed, so they'll get Manwaring into the game at the bottom of the inning. He's the better defensive catcher. Patterson popped the first pitch up, and the catch is made by Piazza in foul ground. 1 pitch and 1 out for Steve Wilson in the 8th inning.
It was John Patterson who on September the 1st hit the 9th inning home run against the Braves to give the Giants the only win that they had in the last 6 meetings against Atlanta. Out of nowhere.
Patterson, who spent most of the year in the minors rehabbing a rotator cuff injury that forced him to almost exclusively hit this year. He had a tough time playing in the field because of the rotator cuff. Rogers hits for himself, and he looked at strike 1. Last chance for the Rockies at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. 1 out in the top of the 9th. Atlanta leads 10-1. Here it's 5-2 San Francisco with 1 out and the base is empty in the top of the 8th. Rogers has only been up twice this year. He's 0 for 2. Going to be followed by Darren Lewis against Steve Wilson. Two outs.
Number 2. Steve Wilson, formerly with the Chicago Cubs. He's from Vancouver. And he gets Rogers on a fastball away. 2 quick outs for Wilson and the Dodgers.
Steve, a big guy at 6'4", 224 pounds. Darren Lewis turned as if to bunt and looked at a ball. He's 1 for 4, an infield hit and an RBI back in the 2nd. Popped up in shallow center. And Butler makes the catch. Wilson works a quick 1-2-3-8. After 7.5, San Francisco 5, Los Angeles 2.
The day we switched Hammaker Schlemmer over to MCI,
People are very cautious.
their business relies heavily upon 800 service.
We never wanted to jeopardize our great relationship that we have with our customers.
They had been an AT&T customer for over 100 years. We were able to get 48 circuits up and running in a matter of about half an hour.
We were amazed because we did not notice anything at all. Everything worked out perfectly. It's so easy. It's so simple to make the switch. We've been overjoyed.
Great look, beautiful hair. And only weeks ago, she came to my salon with a problem, dandruff. So I showed her what Head & Shoulders can do. We washed half her hair with regular shampoo, the other half with Head & Shoulders. The result? Regular shampoo side, dandruff. Head & Shoulders side, flake-free. Looking good, Sally.
Thanks to you.
Head and Shoulders, because beautiful hair can't have flakes.
The thing is, 2 scoops of raisins make Kellogg's Raisin Bran taste so good, people forget it's good for them. What do you think?
Tastes good.
And?
It's delicious.
That's the same thing. See, it's Kellogg's, remember? So it tastes good and it's good for you.
Right. I forgot.
That's all right. Let's try again.
It tastes good.
And?
It's tasty.
And?
It's really tasty.
There are 2 reasons to eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. The taste.
And?
A 1993 Toyota 4x4. Nothing else comes close.
The Giants lead 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Dave Martinez has driven in 3 of the 5 San Francisco runs. The trio of Clark, Williams, and Bond, 16 for the last 22. Will Clark had 4 hits last night and 4 more today. Meanwhile, the Braves are 1 out away from victory, leading 10-1 over Colorado in the 9th inning at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Kevin Rogers working to the top of the Los Angeles order in the 8th. Brett Butler fouled the first pitch out of play. And it's now a final. Atlanta has defeated Colorado 10-1 behind Greg Maddux. Win number 103 of the year for the Braves. A franchise record. And the Giants will need to win this one to stay even in the National League West, with the final games of the regular season to be played tomorrow. Maddux lowered his league leading ERA and picked up his 20th win for Atlanta. Those standings up to date. The half-game lead for the Braves. San Francisco will move back into the tie if they can protect this 3-run lead in the 8th. 2 balls and a strike on Butler. Offerman on deck, and then Mike Piazza. Butler's 2 for 3 today. He singled in the first, doubled and scored in the 3rd. Last time up, he flied out to left. Fouled off to the left, 2-2.
Trying to stay as calm as possible, and it's John Burkett to the right of Dusty Baker. Dick Pole to his left. Sometimes your stomach will not cooperate.
Just missed, and now it's 3-2.
I tell you, Sean, 129 years ago, there was the Battle of Atlanta. If this game goes to San Francisco, if they play that 163rd game of the season, it will be the Battle of Mylanta.
The 3-2 pitch. And a look for a base hit. And Brett Butler is aboard, leading off the 8th. And for those of you who watched Atlanta defeat Colorado this afternoon, we welcome you back to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, where Brett Butler has just opened the bottom of the 8th with a single to center field, his 3rd hit of the ball game. The Giants lead 5-2. The hits now even at 9 apiece. And the batter will be Jose Offerman. Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver, happy to have you with us. Offerman 0 for 2 today, including a sacrifice bunt. And he'll be followed by Mike Piazza. Should Offerman reach, Piazza, the long ball threat, would come to the plate representing the tying run. Offerman taking all the way, and Kevin Rogers' first pitch to him is ball 1.
It doesn't matter what happens to Jose Offerman. In my opinion, this is Rogers' last batter. The only possible scenario is if Offerman hits into a double play. That's the only way to keep Michael Jackson out of the game.
Offerman is a better hitter left-handed, and that's the reason Rogers has continued on to face him. Tommy Lasorda cast in the unfamiliar role of spoiler. And Dusty Baker, his good friend, controlled the outfield for the Dodgers for so many years while Lasorda was the manager. Trying to win the division title in his first year as a major league manager. That's high, 2-1. Rogers has been working behind an account regularly since entering the ballgame.
If there was ever a time for a pitcher to throw the ball over the plate and say, here it is, hit it, this is it.
That's what he did, and Offerman popped it up. Scarsoni, the second baseman, in shallow right for the first out of the inning. A big out. That means Piazza will not represent the tying run as he strolls to the plate. Here's a look at the final out of the ball game in Atlanta. Jim Tatum with a fly ball to left. Ron Kant with the running catch. And the Braves with win number 103 for Bobby Cox. And what you said appears to be right on the money as usual, Tim, as Dusty Baker is at the mound and Rogers will be replaced by Mike Jackson. And we'll be back to Dodger Stadium right after this.
Young, rich. Let me see. And smart. Just look at the car.
Well, he didn't get where he is by throwing his money away.
At $79.98, the Toyota Tercel has a standard driver's side airbag, and it's the lowest priced two-door sedan you can buy.
Here comes his broker.
Maybe it's his agent.
Excuse me. Is that your car? Sure is. Well, it's blocking my driveway.
I think he's complimenting him on his unpretentiousness.
He's so cool.
You can feel it deep inside. Dedication and a real sense of pride. And you're giving it your best. Proud to be your bud. Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. Proud to be your bud. Ooh, yeah. Proud to be your. Proud to be your bud.
It's the Monday night game of a lifetime. The game you'll never forget. Will Evening Shade finally win one?
Look, if you're wearing that for luck, I'd rather lose.
All new Monday.
Tomorrow on the NFL Today, are the Cowboys ready for a Super Bowl run? I'll present the Bradshaw plan to curtail the kicking game, plus the battle Boomer Esiason and his son are fighting off the field. That's all tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on the NFL Today.
The postseason begins with the American League Championship Series Game 1 Tuesday night at Chicago as the White Sox host the Toronto Blue Jays. Juan Guzman and Jack McDowell, the starters for Game 1 of the ALCS. First pitch 8:12 Tuesday night. That's Eastern time. And the NLCS begins the following night at 8:12 first pitch from Philadelphia. The Phillies awaiting the winner of the National League West. And as you noted earlier, Tim, they're hoping for a playoff game Monday night to tire out whomever their opponent might be.
I think the Philadelphia Phillies, that evens it up either against Atlanta or San Francisco because they needed a bunch of guys who needed some rest. They had some guys who were banged up. Atlanta and San Francisco are not going to have that luxury, especially if they play Monday night.
Mike Piazza, the batter, with one out and a runner at first in the 8th inning. The Giants lead 5-2. Piazza has 2 singles and an RBI in 3 trips today. Jackson's first pitch is a strike.
Roy Campanella with RBIs, over 100 RBIs in 51, 3 and 5, and now Mike Piazza 108 with his RBI today.
Jackson in with strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. The runner at first is Brett Butler. He started the inning with a single to center. Then Offerman popped out and Jackson came on to replace Rogers. The 0-2 pitch. Piazza sends it down the line. That's a fair ball out of the reach of Matt Williams. Butler is on his way to third. Piazza heads for second. And the Dodgers will bring the tying run to the plate with 1 out here in the 8th inning. Mike Piazza is 3 for 4 today.
With the count, no balls and 2 strikes, Mike Jackson gets a little careless. This is one of those backup sliders. Piazza does not hit it hard, but it's just by Matt Williams. First 2 pitches right on the corner, and the 0-2 pitch, a pitch with which Jackson was careless.
The Giants closer, Rod Beck, who has been used time and time again of late, is warming up. Carroll's the batter. He had a 2-run homer in the 9th off Beck last night. Cut the Giants lead from 8-5 to 8-7. San Francisco held on for the 8-7 win. Eric today has bounced to short, lined to second into a double play, and flied to center. 5-2 San Francisco. 2 men in scoring position with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th, and a count of 2-0 on Carroll's. The 2-0 pitch. 3 balls and no strikes. Corey Snyder is on deck. Fastball, Carroll's taking all the way, and it's a strike around the knees.
Time of year when water goes down in lumps. Dusty's case, it's not even going down.
The tying run is at the plate in the 8th inning. The 3-1 pitch. Good breaking ball. Jackson straightened the back of Carroll's with that one, and now it's a full count. The payoff pitch. Jack swinging a ball low and away. The tying run is aboard for Tommy Lasorda and the Dodgers. The go-ahead run will come to the plate, perhaps against Mike Jackson. And they will run for Carros. Tom Goodwin, the pinch runner.
Your attention, please. Running at first base for Eric Carros, number 47, Tom Goodwin.
And the batter is Corey Snyder, who's 1 for 3 today. He had a bunt single leading off the second. He scored the first Los Angeles run of the ball game. 5-2 Giants in the 8th. The bases loaded. Big swing and a miss by Snyder for strike 1. It will be close. Clark goes as far as he can go, and it's 4 or 5 rows back. It bounces up even deeper. And you're looking at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Many of the fans who are in attendance for the ball game today between the Braves and Rockies are still there and watching the ball game on the big screen out in the outfield. In the bottom of the 8th as Jackson blew away Corey Snyder.
Jackson realized his mistake to Piazza. He threw the 0-2 slider, and now he goes up the ladder with Corey Snyder. For Snyder, 147 strikeouts on the year.
.91 miles per hour on the gun. Tim Wallach representing the go-ahead run at the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Ball 1 low and away. Wallach has had a perfect day at the plate. 2 singles, and he was hit by a pitch in the 4th. Check swing at the fastball. They appeal down to first. No swing, says Jim Quick. The ball and a strike. 2 balls and no strikes rather on Wallach.
His body went around, but his bat didn't.
The 2-0 pitch. Another check swing. 3 balls and no strikes. Jackson in danger of walking in a run and moving the tying run into scoring position. Butler, the runner at third. Piazza at second. The pinch runner Goodwin, the tying run at first. Wallach, the go-ahead run at the plate. The 3-0. Low and away, ball 4. It's 5-3 San Francisco as Butler trots in from third.
You got to bring in Rod Beck right now. Not only because of Jackson's wildness, but because of the type of hitter that Mondesi is. Matter of fact, Dusty Baker went out too soon. Lasorda has not announced a pinch hitter for Mondesi yet. We'll see. But I would think that's it for Michael Jackson.
It will be. And Rod Beck will enter the ball game with the tying run at second. The go-ahead run at first for Los Angeles.
I brush my teeth 3 times a day. So just imagine when the dentist said, Annie, you've got tartar. And he reached for that pick. Doctor, I asked, isn't there an easier way? He said, Annie, use a tougher toothpaste. Tartar Control Crest.
Because of Crest's exclusive tartar-fighting formula, we're so sure you'll have less tartar in 6 months, we'll give you a money-back guarantee.
So I started using Tartar Control Crest, and my next visit's great.
Less tartar in 6 months guaranteed. From Crest, the dentist's choice.
Now I don't get picked on so much anymore.
Come on, stop. I'm begging you. I mean, what is this? Not just one plain flake, but count them. I'm overwhelmed. What? All right, so I'm doing a 180 here. It's simple. That's good. It crunches. Yeah, I could go for them. Okay? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes. You know you're killing me, right? Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Funny guy.
Taste them again for the first time.
Got the flu? Laughter's the best medicine, and TV Guide says this is one of our favorites.
Next time you put something in my ear, I expect dinner and a movie.
Dave's World, Monday.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. MCI, the company that brings you proof positive. And by Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1, because great hair can't have flakes.
Tenuous situation for Rod Beck. He's been in them before. 5-3 San Francisco with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Beck, his 76th appearance of the year. That's right, 76 appearances. And he has pitched in 8 of the last 9 days. And the one big problem, you mentioned the home run ball to Karras last night. One of the big problems is Rod has given up the long ball in 4 of his last 7 appearances. 4 home runs as he yielded in his last 7 appearances.
Dave Hansen, pinch hitter deluxe for the Dodgers, strolls to the plate to bat from Mondesi. Pitching coach Dick Pohl. We talked about the lack of signs of pressure on the faces of some of the Giants. That is no longer the case. And it's understandable. The Braves have already won to put more pressure on San Francisco. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first for Hansen. Beck's first pitch, a ball. Mike Piazza, the runner at third. Goodwin representing the tying run at second. And Wallach representing the go-ahead run at first. The 1-0 pitch. High drive right field. Martinez onto the warning track. He makes the catch just in front of the fence in the right field corner. San Francisco to the ninth.
Hold on. I don't just overnight the package.
Yeah, sure. Overnight it. Might as well overnight it.
Overnight this.
Overnight that. Overnight.
Overnight.
Sometimes overnight is overkill. So kick the habit with priority mail from the Postal Service. It's not overnight, but it's fast delivery, special handling, and 2 pounds is only $2.90. When overnight is overdoing it, remember, we deliver for you. Call and we'll start today.
I'm getting older, so I have to push myself just a little bit harder.
Introducing a new, hard-working Power Stick. Now with more odor fighters per stroke than ever.
Hey, that's better for me and everybody else.
New Power Stick from Fabergé, the most powerful Power Stick ever.
Some people get nasal congestion, but if you get sinus congestion, use a sinus spray like Sinex. Only Sinex has a decongestant plus Vicks Vapors, so you can feel your swollen passages open up. For sinus, think Sinex.
There's no doubt about what's in Fidel Castro's health plan. Get AIDS in Cuba and you're shipped off to a sanatorium. Some call it a prison. Does it work? 60 Minutes, Sunday.
The city of San Francisco, about 2 minutes ago, worked on its heavy breathing. Inhale. Now exhale.
And Tommy Lasorda was downplaying this rivalry and downplaying his role as the spoiler. I'm not sure I believe him.
Dave Hansen came oh so close to giving the Dodgers a 2-run lead.
Friends, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. New pitcher for the Dodgers, he is Pedro Martinez. There are 42 players named Martinez in professional baseball this year. 3 of them in the same family, and all of them in the Dodger organization. Jesus, Pedro, and Ramon.
Batting in the 7th position.
Pretty intensive research right there. Nice going. 42 Martinez. I guess it's Martini, right?
Martinis, perhaps.
Martinis.
No, that would be a CBS production meeting.
For the Giants,
Steve Scarsoni, the batter.
batting for Steve Scarsoni.
And he will not hit.
31, J.R. Phillips.
J.R. Phillips batting for Scarsoni, who went 0 for 4 today. Phillips has appeared in 10 games with the Giants this year. He's 5 for 15, a .333 average, including a homer. He has driven in 4 runs as a major leaguer in 1993. Talked earlier about the possibility of batting for Scarsoni because Benjamin is the better defensive second baseman, and no matter what happens here in the top of the ninth, the Giants will be protecting a lead in the bottom of the ninth. Pedro Martinez missed outside, 2 balls and a strike. Will Clark due up next? He'll be bidding for his 5th hit of the ball game, and then Matt Williams. Good change of speeds that had Phillips out in front. There's Steve Scarsoni on the bench after his 0 for 4 today. Phillips batting for him. JR led the Pacific Coast League this year with 27 home runs at Phoenix. Good fastball inside corner for strike 3.
Martinez to Phillips. Fastball right on the inside corner.
Now Will Clark, 4 for 5 last night, 4 for 4 this afternoon. Singles his first 2 times up today, then a double and a run scored in the 5th. He singled and scored in the 7th. He's had 2 5-hit games in his career. The last was on July 14th of 1991 at Philadelphia. And if these are his final games in a Giant uniform, they have been memorable ones for William Nushler Clark. Changes for the Dodgers. Henry Rodriguez is now at first base. And Tom Goodwin remains in the game in left field. Pedro Martinez. 1-2.
Martinez's brother worked for the Dodgers last night. He lost that game, and he throws similarly to his brother. He doesn't drop down quite as much. He's more over the top, and I think Pedro is going to throw harder than Ramon, but not quite as good a changeup as his brother has.
Pedro is just 22 years old. Martinez family from the Dominican Republic. They have another brother, Jesus, who's also a pitcher in the lower levels of the Dodger organization.
Yeah, their brother's a left-hander, 20 years old, pitched in Double-A ball this year.
2-2 on Clark. 1 out, bases empty, top of the 9th. The Giants lead 5-3. They've never trailed in the ballgame. They did squander a 2-0 lead when the Dodgers came back to tie it at 2-2 after 3. But a run in the 5th made it 3-2 San Francisco. 2 in the 7th made it 5-2. And then the Dodgers scored in the 8th. Clark retired for the first time in the ballgame. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 9th inning for Pedro Martinez.
Nothing fancy about this fastball.
Number 9, third baseman, Matt Williams.
California hardball.
Now Matt Williams, who is 2 for 4 today with a double and a single. Giants lead by 2 runs with 2 outs, and the bases empty in the top of the 9th. Slap down to third. Long throw for Wallach. High throw. And an excellent play by Rodriguez to apply the tag to Williams and end the inning. 1-2-3 go the Giants. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Jody Reed will lead off for Los Angeles. 5-3.
You're looking at tinea pedis, commonly known as athlete's foot. But what's not commonly known is many types of fungus cause it. And to cure it all, you've got to kill it all. But today, there's a full prescription-strength medicine, the one most recommended by doctors, Lotrimin AF. The broad-spectrum power of Lotrimin AF doesn't just get some athlete's foot fungus, it kills it all. Lotrimin AF, the cure that gets it all.
This is a line. To some, it is seen as a barrier. To others, it's a point where traditions of the past are abandoned in favor of visions of the future. Introducing the revolutionary new Toyota Supra. It's taken everything sports cars were before and crossed the line.
Tomorrow on the NFL Today, are the Cowboys ready for a Super Bowl run? I'll present the Bradshaw plan to curtail the kicking game, plus the battle Boomer Esiason and his son are fighting off the field. That's all tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on the NFL Today.
On to the bottom of the 9th inning here at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Crowd of 44,000 plus has watched a very entertaining ball game, and if you're a Giants fan, you'll have to agonize over these last 3 outs because of the use of Rod Beck lately. Even when he's been getting the job done of late, last night he has really struggled, and he appears to be pitching on fumes.
Yeah, we talked about the home run ball, and Dave Hansen just misses the home run in the bottom of the 8th inning to end it with the bases loaded. I'm sure Rod Beck wants to close this one out for Dusty Baker, himself, and the Giants. And the Giants possibly hoping to get out to a big lead tomorrow so they don't have to use Beck, whether they play on Monday or not. But you know what, Sean? You don't get tired at this time of year. I don't care how much you've been used.
Dusty Baker hopes that that is true in the case of Rod Beck. Jody Reed to lead off. Then Henry Rodriguez in the top of the order, Brett Butler. (5-3) San Francisco. First pitch of the bottom of the 9th, a strike to Reed. Jody's 1 for 3, a single his first time up. That was back in the 2nd against the starter Hickerson. Jeff Brantley is the pitcher of record for the Giants. Earl Hershiser for Los Angeles. 1-1 on Reed. Cold foul. Ball sharply struck. Tonight on CBS, it's Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, followed by Hearts of the West and Walker, Texas Rangers, starring Chuck Norris. That's tonight on CBS. Up and away, 2-2. Couple of defensive changes for San Francisco. Mike Benjamin, as expected, is into the ball game at second base. And Kurt Manwaring is behind the plate. Off-speed pitch and a beauty. Reed strikes out for the first out of the bottom of the 9th.
Now that was the pitch that has made Rod Beck one of the most formidable relievers in the National League. The splitter. See the dead spin, bottom falls out, and Reed's the first out of the inning. That was nasty there.
Thanks to the great work of the bullpen, particularly Rod Beck, the Giants have not lost a game that they have led after 8 innings. Beck is 47 out of 51 this year in save opportunities. He's only blown 4. He's working on a string of 15 straight. 2 balls and a strike on Henry Rodriguez, up for the first time today with his .225 average and 8 homers. That's outside. 3-1. Should Rodriguez reach, Brett Butler would come to the plate, representing the tying run for Los Angeles.
It's one of those here it is, hit it again situations. From a psychological standpoint, a home run's not as bad as a walk. I know that sounds strange, but it's a 9th inning.
Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rod Beck here in the 9th inning. Peter McGowan, the owner. On the right of your screen, Bobby Thompson in the middle. And Dusty Baker and Dick Cole hoping that they only have to agonize for a few more minutes. The Giants with a win would be back into the tie for first place with Atlanta. The Braves have already won today. They'd be dead even heading into tomorrow's final games of the regular season.
Interesting thing about the Giants, though, is that agony begets agony. Even if they win today, they're still tied. Back agonizing again tomorrow.
Butler at the plate. Offerman on deck. Brett Butler took a fastball for ball 1. Brett's had a good day with the bat. 3 for 4, 2 singles and a double. He has scored 2 of the 3 Los Angeles runs.
He'll take a strike, I would think. The Dodgers 2 runs down.
He bunts, a good bunt. Williams has to let it roll, and it dribbles foul. Let it stay fair. There was absolutely no chance for Matt Williams to make the play on Brett Butler. the Dodgers are down to their final strike. 2 outs, bases empty, bottom of the 9th. The Giants lead 5-3. We can hear the crowd roaring. There are a lot of Giant fans in attendance this afternoon at Dodger Stadium. A 1-2 pitch. Fouled away. Beck trying to strike out the side in the 9th. Atlanta has already won, so the Giants must win this one to remain in the first place tie in the National League West, with 1 game to go tomorrow for each of the 2 teams. Another 1-2 pitch. Slap to second. Benjamin throws him out. And the Giants and the Braves will go to the final day of the regular season in a tie for first with 103 wins apiece.
It has been a fairy tale season for both the Giants and the Braves. But for whomever loses, it will be a grim fairy tale.
The Chevrolet player of the game is Will Clark of the San Francisco Giants, who went 4 for 5 again today, coming off his 4 for 5 last night. He scored 2 runs today. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the name of Will Clark to the Special Olympics. The standings tell the story with 1 game to go. Atlanta and San Francisco tied atop the National League West with identical records of 103 and 58. Now for Tim McCarver and Pat O'Brien, I'm Sean McDonough saying so long from Dodger Stadium. The final score, San Francisco 5, Los Angeles 3. You've been watching Major League Baseball on CBS Sports, home of the biggest games in baseball, the League Championship Series and the World Series. So long, everyone.
The great masters defined civilization in Europe. Now we're defining it on the way there. United Airlines' renowned international service to 15 cities all across Europe. Come fly the airline that's uniting the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
When you look for champions, you look to CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
The struggle for ultimate power becomes an obsession to catch the most dangerous criminal alive.
Nobody tells me how to run my business.
The man's a lunatic, man. These guys won't be dead, Frank. One man's quest for ultimate victory. The biggest problem is about to disappear. Becomes another man's.
On the streets of Moscow, and the death toll in India's earthquake mounts to at least 30,000. This is the CBS Evening News. And this is Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. It has been 2 years now since the infamous Tailhook Convention, the gathering of Navy flyers that blew up in a scandal involving charges that 83 women had been sexually harassed or abused by drunk Navy pilots. The scandal has already caused the resignations of 2 admirals and the Secretary of the Navy at that time. And last night, CBS News reported that the current Secretary of the Navy is recommending that the Navy's top admiral also be fired. Well, the Pentagon confirmed that report today, but said Defense Secretary...
Sometimes a player reaches a point where it's just time for him to move on. And I think in Dennis's heart, he felt that this is the time.
Helped make some great memories here, but new city now for Rodman. It's down to the final day of the season for the Giants and Braves in Major League Baseball. Both teams won their games today and remain tied for the National League West lead. The Giants beat Oral Hershiser and the Dodgers today. Dave Martinez drove in 3 runs, 2 on this drive to the gap in right center. The Giants with victory number 103 on the season, 5-3 over the Dodgers today. The Braves playing at home against the Colorado Rockies won big 10-1. Terry Pendleton dropping in a broken bat single here. It scored Ron Gant. 10-1 the final for the Braves. All comes down to tomorrow or a playoff in the National League West. Tigers won their next to last game of the season. They